Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
You know, I'm not a big fan of running nothing back, but we sure as hell ran this panel back, though. Technical difficulties don't stop us. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is back. G. Bush, a.k.a. Big Nostradamus, a.k.a. G. Baby is in the building. Y'all got to come up with y'all's own intros.
Negro-damus?
I got nothing.
You don't have an a.k.a.?
J-Lo. That's all I got.
J-Lo, okay. J-Lo with the slim booty. J-Lo.
This show is off the rails already. I can't believe it.
Hey, J-Lo's been my nickname as long as it's been hers.
It's only one J-Lo.
You messing his fantasies up.
You got to figure something else out.
You messing
I'm
his
not
whole
about to sit
perspective
here
up.
and allow this to go on. No, you are not J-Lo.
Yes, I am.
Tyvus, did you have a nickname growing up? Listen, you were a Division I college athlete. You went to the Colt, which is the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The cult.
And prayed
The
to
cult.
The cult. Prayed to the shrine, Buckeye Shrine, every morning. What would you? Did you have a nickname?
Well, actually, growing up, everybody. So before I got to college, everybody used to call me T.Y. That was my name, T.Y. Right? And then I got to college, and everybody switched it to T.P. But I never really liked T.P. because when I thought of T.P., I thought of Terrell Pryor. So
yes,
that always got to me.
I thought toilet paper.
I did too. Or I thought when you say
think that too.
I think like little cloth huts in the middle of
teepee.
Middle America with like buffaloes and stuff. Teepee.
No, yeah, well, yeah. TP, yeah. No, but that's not what, no. You thinking, y'all need to cut it out, okay? Y'all thinking about the wrong things. It's either Terrell Pryor or Tyvus Powell, but Terrell Pryor was bigger at OSU than me, so.
And behind the glass, we got Earl the Pearl. Did you have a name before Earl the Pearl? Did you have anything in high school or middle school or even in elementary school, Earl?
My nickname always been Pearl.
Always?
Always.
Is it from Earl the Pearl Monroe?
Yeah. Like, it was a given. I'm like the fifth Earl Malden in my family. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you know, and then my grandfather on the other side name was Willie Earl. And so, like, people would just always call me Earl of Pearl when I was a kid. And then when I became a teenager, people actually called me Pearly. But, like the rappers, when I got older, I dropped a Y and just started going by Pearl.
So were you a fan of He Got Game? They should call you Jesus because, you know, that's how, you know, Jake Shuttlesworth tells Jesus that he got his name from Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Yeah, like I know all about his game. I actually had a caller when I was hosting on the radio Sunday who was trying to give me the rundown. Earl the Pearl played for the Washington Bullets. He was a star for the Bullets. Got traded to the New York Knicks and won the championship with the Knicks with Clyde Frazier. I did have I used to get teased too, and they used to be like, you know, Earl a girl who wear white pearls, and it's so funny because some of the girls who used to tease me, they be trying to come back. They be trying to, and I let you know how you made me feel in second grade, fam.
Girl, back then,
back then they didn't want me.
Back then, Earl shot anybody that was playing with his name. You better not play with Pearl's name. By the way, the name Pearl, that reminds me of Pearl off 227. Y'all remember the show?
Oh, I remember. I used to watch 227.
227, yeah. Pearl on the other side.
With Jack Hay.
Yeah, Jack Hay. Jack Hay was cold back in the day, right?
This must be something that came out in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah, you got a little bit older, you know what I'm saying? Tyvus look old, but Tyvus not really old. Tyvus is under 30. Like
I am under 30.
You're under 30. Like Tyvus is not like 100, but
I may be the whitest dude on the set, but I watched 227, I watched Amen, I watched Martin.
Oh, I watched
Amen.
George Jefferson, amen.
Like, yo.
Where he used to do at the beginning, he do the jump rope at the beginning.
Deacon Ernest, you know what?
I think Martin is one of those shows, though. It just transcends race, right?
Martin absolutely transcended race.
So, I don't know how many people did. So, back in the day, I used to have intermittent cable. Like, cable be, it was like sometimes it be on, sometimes it don't.
Is that depending on when you pay the bill?
Dependent. Sometimes like they give you that red copy, that means you got 3 more weeks. That red copy, but listen, that final notice, dude, it can go at any time. You be in the middle of the game, in the middle of watching, listen, but we had the Martin DVDs, right? And then we'd hold you over because we was like, hold on, we could just buy the DVDs from Walmart. Get them boys, keep them on rotation, Jesse. And them Martin DVDs, you can watch an episode hundreds of times and still be laughing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it still come on to this day, and I still watch it, and I still laugh at certain ones because it's
Shout out to Martin Lawrence, man. But he had an era, and I've never seen an era like with Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle was Rick James.
The Chappelle Show.
When I was at OD, he had white boys and girls walking down the street. Yeah! What?
You know what, though?
What? I said, bro, he has a cult. Like, people couldn't even talk like themselves.
But I'm glad that we grew up in that, I was able to grow up in the era that I grew up in because a lot of that stuff won't fly now. Like, I was watching the old WWF clip. Man, they had Stone Cold on there, right? And he had it was the old lady, Sue, the one that Bubba Ray Dudley slammed through the Sue May or something May Sue, something. All right, they had her up against Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff used to be the GM. Yeah. So they hit him in the balls, and he falls in the corner, and Stone Cold says, "You want some pie? That's a pie eating contest. Go give him some pie." And she goes and Bronco busters this man in the face. I said, if they put that on TV today, they go in the commercial and it's never coming back. The show getting canceled.
WWE
She
is
stripped
wild.
down to her bikini, her thong, and put it all in his face. I was like, this is.
You know we must be alike because I was like, I don't know what made me get in the time machine and start looking at WWF, and they was just running around talking about like the little petty stuff they used to do, and like they just going back talking about it. It's like, man, how everybody just hated Goldberg. Like everybody hated Goldberg.
Yeah.
Why?
And it was like
Because he didn't protect his
Right.
he didn't protect his partner, whoever he was wrestling.
he said, man,
he was hurting people.
He said you play
He had no idea what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing.
He ended Hitman Hart's career. Hitman still mad. Brett's still mad about that. He was like, bro, hey, mess around Bill Goldberg. I'll tell you what, man, this guy, he's running around, he's throwing you up the top ropes for don't. And then he had the jack. He was spearing people.
That was his only move.
And,
No, he had the jackhammer.
Then Kevin Nash says,
He was hurt.
He was.
Kevin
People
Nash
getting
said,
injured.
and then they fabricated the hell out of his win streak. We don't even wrestle 153 dates in a year. That man had 60 wins tops.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, bro. I was watching them. They said Harlem Heat wasn't washing their gear.
Oh, that's messed up.
He said Stevie Ray and Booker T.
We want the gold, sucker. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
They was like, them flames was flaming for real, brother. I tell you what, they got the rankest gear I've ever smelled. Take that home and wash it.
Yeah, they not letting a lot of that fly today, but it was a good time.
Good times,
and then on the early 2000s, as far as TV goes, I mean, when I was a kid and I was getting ready to go to sleep, I had to be like 6 years old, and my mom would fall asleep, and I'd be sitting there watching TV, and you had Martin, Jamie Foxx, Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey show. All of these came on like back to back to back to back at nighttime. They started at like 9 o'clock.
On Channel 55.
Yeah, on Channel 55. Look at you. And Bernie, Steve, Martin, Jamie Foxx, all of that. And it was good times, man. I don't think they really make TV shows like that no more, though.
A different world.
Oh,
A different world.
Different world.
The Bill
In
Cosby's
living
on,
color.
the Cosby
see, you
spinoff.
in your old bag. See, you
I am.
snuck that
I'm an
one
old
in.
dude, man.
Listen, in a different world, my dad went to HBCU. So when the different world came up, I was like, oh, no, I'm about to go there. I'm like, they got baby doing step shows and everything, different world. Vanessa and them was there. And that was like Dwayne Wade. Like he's not D-Wade, but Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. I remember the guy with the round glasses.
He had the flip-up joint, the Tony.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember when him and Marlon Wayne started in the 6-man.
Oh,
That's like one of my favorite movies
That's a
ever.
classic too.
man,
People don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
You ain't seen that one where he dies and he's like he comes back as an angel.
Yeah.
He helps him. He helped.
It's like Angels in the Outfield, but a basketball version of Black people.
Hey, funny story on that before we get started. I can talk about it now because I'm more healed than what I was. So growing up, me, my brother, and my dad, we used to love that movie. And my father passed away from a heart attack. So my brother is sitting at home about a month and a half after the fact, just watching the movie. And the part comes on when he's in a gym and he's talking to his brother. He say, first dad died of a heart attack. Nah, you. My brother said, yeah, man, F this. Threw the remote at the TV and ain't took the movie back on since.
Wow.
And how old was y'all?
This was like, my father passed 5 years ago.
So he's a little bit older too.
Yeah.
Like was you shook when he threw it? Was you like I don't know how to react to this?
Yeah, it was funny in the moment. It was like one of those.
Did you laugh?
Yeah, he was like, oh hell no, we ain't watching this.
Wow.
Well, on a lighter note, we have PCC airfoils. We'll get to that later in the show. We got a good show coming up for y'all, man. As always, I laughed and joked and said we was running it back. But we ain't running it back. There's a couple topics we left on the table we can get to. So we're going to start off here in a couple seconds. What Cleveland Browns players do you think will be preseason standouts? Because I love this topic because I'm going to go to the preseason expert, Jason Lloyd, and he's going to tell me which one of these games don't count so I can then go hype these dudes up. So he's going to let me know which guys are going to be hyped for the preseason, but it doesn't mean anything.
Is this like NBA Summer League?
Yeah, just like that. But it's football version, right? Football version. And then we got Jay. Jay Crawford is making an appearance. He got dropped into Firestone. I think he flew or parachuted in. I don't know.
I haven't seen Jay in 6.5 years.
I haven't either.
I'm telling you.
Last time I seen him, he was in with Kit Hoover.
Oh, Jay.
I think the Super Bowl's the last time I saw Jay.
That
at his house.
is at his crib. That's it.
Y'all been to Jay's house? Man.
We've been to the Lighthouse. You need to
Man.
come. You need to make the trip.
Yeah.
I do need that. The next time
Get
Jay
security
has
clearance.
something.
Let Secret Service pat you
Right.
down.
Well, he got to do it because when the fall comes around, I'm gonna be a very, very, very busy man.
You ready to go? So they're already ready to go?
Yeah, they're getting set up now, but we're actually gonna pivot and start the show off with Paige Sporanic joining Jay Crawford.
Okay.
Jay Crawford actually joining his boys that he ain't seen in God knows how long.
Let me see if he got the same.
He there?
Let me see if he got the same hair. He got the same. We're gonna see. They might be. They still.
Does Jay still have different color eyes, or did he, change that? Which is crazy that I didn't know that.
He's got different. I don't know that.
See, that's what I said. Somebody pointed it out to me.
Guys don't look at other dudes' eyes.
But when you talk to a
you're
man,
right,
you're
that's kinda-
supposed to look him in the eye.
what-
Jay has two different color
What color eyes do I have? Exactly.
Brown.
No. Exactly.
Yo, that's crazy.
Good guess.
That's crazy, bro.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm not gonna be looking all in your eyes.
I mean, I
All
agree.
right, G, what color eyes do I have? Not brown.
blue.
Okay, good guess.
Yeah, there's blue, and I heard
Not
that.
many to pick from.
I should have guessed. I should have guessed it.
All right, well, we're gonna pivot to the top dogs, man. Jay Crawford is making a guest appearance from Firestone. Jay, how you doing? Where you at, bro? There we go.
You're making fun of my eyes right now.
Yes,
I hear
they
you
are.
guys. I hear all of you.
Our mics were supposed to be off. We're sorry.
Jay, I don't look a guy in the eyes, man. I'm not like that.
I know you don't. I know you don't. You never look me in the eye, Jason. I've noticed that about you. When I talk, you look everywhere but my eye. Right here. Eyes on the crisis, bro.
Bro.
Right
What
here.
dude looks another dude in the eyes and stares deeply into his eyes? Come on.
Somebody
Did you
pointed it out.
Jason, did you hear what Paige just said?
No.
She said she can relate to guys not looking her in the eyes either. I don't know what you're talking about. I have not broken eye contact with your eyes yet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have not. I have not. Are we good to go? Do you want us to just take it
Yeah,
from there?
Do your thing, man.
We'll be
All right.
watching.
First of all, Paige Sporanic, everybody knows who she is. She doesn't need an introduction, but I want to introduce you to the crew. Guys, if you can take the studio camera, the 3-shot, I just want to tell you who you're on with,
Okay.
so you have a little bit of background. So this dude here is Tyvis. He was a fantastic college football player, won the national championship with Ohio State, and was the game's MVP.
Right here,
Now-
look,
now,
get it, Steve.
Before you start to say, wow, I'm so impressed, I want you to judge his golf swing.
Okay, I can do that.
What is wrong with
I was just my
him?
being all strong.
I love it.
Off his shoulder.
Yeah, right. Okay. So,
Did you see how big Tyvus's chest was
Travis,
before
you
that?
knew I was going to do this. If you didn't, you haven't been paying attention to me from last
This is
year and a
such
half.
a low blow.
Okay, who's producing? Earl, can we roll Tyvus's fantastic? This is his first golf swing ever, by the way.
First golf swing
Which
ever.
is stunning to me that
Okay.
you get to be an adult in life and you've never swung a golf club. I don't understand that concept. Someone who's had a club in my hand my whole life.
The
Roll
technique is
Tyvus's
great.
swing, and I want you to grade it A to F.
Oh, A to F. I can do
Yes,
that.
and
Okay.
don't
Let's do
be
this.
kind. Just lay it out there. Whatever you think.
Look
So
at
here he
him.
is. He lost the club, Paige.
I mean, yeah.
He missed the ball. He lost the club. The best part of this story was he was the celebrity at a hole, and he was going to hit I think it was a par 3, and he was going to take a swing with every group.
That's the way you live,
Oh,
dude. I don't care
no.
what nobody
Very
say.
first one, he doesn't have a club. He borrows a club, and he throws it 50 yards into the woods.
Lake.
What do we give him on that swing?
I mean, the swing, first time ever, not that bad.
Thank
Maybe
you.
a C minus. But you're losing the club. That's an F. But for me, I live in the content world. That is A+ content all day long. So
Yeah,
what
you're
does
right.
that average out to? Maybe a B minus, maybe a C right there.
Wow,
That's grading on the
Tyvus.
curve. That's grading on the
Paige
curve.
Ceramic gave your golf swing a B minus.
Thank you.
Retire.
Thank you.
It's over.
God
It's a
bless
wrap.
you. God bless you.
You're done. Okay, so that's our panelist on the far left. Now, if we can take that 3-shot again, guys, the wide shot of the studio. In the middle is Jason Lloyd. He's a fantastic writer. He's all things Cleveland. Can I say that you're buds with LeBron? I mean, you're boys. He returns your texts.
Oh yeah, all the time. We're meeting up. We're
He
meeting
writes
up.
for The Athletic, which that's pretty much, in terms of sports writing today, that's
He
as high
returns
as it
my
goes.
text.
That's
That's
as
a
high as
peak.
it gets.
That's a pinnacle.
He sent his
Jason's a
plane to
stud.
pick me up. I'm going to meet him in Brazil after the show.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's a small fabrication. And then on the right, if we come back to the 3-shot again, guys, I'm sorry that I'm doing this. I just wanted to know who we're talking to. That's G. Bush. He played college football in the Mid-American Conference, Ohio University. He's got a bad neck. I'm trying to think of a new homeowner.
Hey, that's a HIPAA
He was
violation.
once engaged and then broke it off and then decided he was going to get married and then soon after got divorced.
Yeah.
So-
Relate with that. So we're good there.
I'm just trying to get fun facts on all of the guys. So now you know who you're on with. What the hell are you doing here? What brings you to Firestone? Because you've never been here before.
Never been, first time. So I'm an LA Golf Ambassador, and I'm here to represent for them today. They're making some of the best equipment in the game. Putters, shafts, golf ball, and I have it almost all in play. So gonna hopefully play some good golf, talk about LA golf, and have a great day.
You're in the Pro-Am with Matt Collig after this.
Yep.
I asked Matt minutes ago, are you going to win the long drive? He said, I'm going for the short drive title. So make of that what you will.
Yeah.
How far do you hit the ball off the tee?
Gosh, it depends. I would say I average around like 255, 260.
All
depending
with
on where
LA
I'm at.
golf gear, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's incredible. Now, folks may or may not have seen the famous picture. Well, there's so many famous pictures.
Yeah, I was like, which one?
I know. What a life. It's so tough. You and the golf balls.
Yes.
Now, that pretty much describes what I'm talking about. Is that the picture you're most famous for or no?
I would say recently, yes.
Yeah.
It's a picture that people seem to really like. It came from the idea of Jan Stevenson, who was kind of the OG sexy golf girl, really embraced, her
Way back in the
femininity
day.
way back in the day.
Yeah.
And she did a picture in a bathtub filled with golf balls. And so when I was talking to the CEO of LA Golf, Reed Dickens, we were thinking of really fun ideas to kind of like launch this partnership. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, so Reed, I'm going to need a bathtub and a ton of LA golf balls. And he said, okay, great. And they literally flew a bathtub to a golf course in Florida. We shot it out there. I mean, I'm sure all the houses got, quite a look at that. And they were like strategically placing
We noticed
balls
that. Yeah, we
and-
noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun.
How
and,
long would a shoot like that take, typically?
so the hard part with that one was just getting the golf balls and the positioning correct. Because like once you're there, you can't move.
Now,
But
who did that, if you don't mind me asking? The positioning of the golf balls. Like,
It was a full team. It was a full team.
I bet it was. Everybody, I'll do that. I can volunteer for that.
Yeah. So
Now, did you have veto power? No, I don't want this person doing it. I need this person, or no?
I mean, I always have like my team involved
Yeah.
and everyone
So they
at
took
LA
care of
Golf.
you.
Yeah, they're amazing. And so, yeah, it took probably 15, 20 minutes just to kind of get the shot. And
Yeah.
once we got it, we knew it was it and moved on, and covered in golf ball size bruises after that.
Were you really?
Yeah, because we tried some different positioning.
Oh, 'cause you're laying on them, too.
You're laying on them.
Oh, yeah, I
And
would
so
think
you're
of
just
that.
kind of, it's very uncomfortable, but the shot turned out great.
Yeah, wow. So for those that aren't familiar with your story, like obviously golf background, but talk about how very good competitive golfer went from an elite golfer to, like, is it safe to say the social media influencer in the entire sport? I feel you are.
If you go off of data, yes, I have the most followers.
How did
and
that happen?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. So I was actually a competitive gymnast growing up. I fractured my kneecap twice and really wanted to find a sport that I would be good at. And so I tried tennis because my aunt played professional tennis and I didn't quite love that. And so my dad, I don't come from a golf family, but my dad enjoyed golf, here and there. And so he took me out and fell in love with it after the first golf ball I hit, and had a really great junior golf career, had a full ride scholarship to play golf at San Diego State University.
Wow.
Played decent there, and then was going back and forth on what I wanted to do because I didn't have any financial backing to play golf professionally, and kind of struggling at that point. So I was caddying and I was running junior golf clinics, and my dad just said, let's just give it 1 year, one shot. And before that happened, I blew up on social media. It was nothing that I
Was it
ever
a plan or an accident?
No, it was totally an accident. Someone found my pictures online, wrote an article about it. And then I went from having 500 followers to 100,000 followers overnight. And at that point, this was, 8 years ago, no one was really utilizing social media through sports. It was gaining a little bit more attention through fashion and beauty, and but sports was way behind. And so I was I was the first to be a golf influencer. So all these companies were reaching out to me, and I had no money. I had no golf balls. I had no tees, gloves, anything. And because in college, they don't really prepare you for life after when you are treated, great. And Callaway was one of the first that approached me, and they said, hey, it will, give you some clubs or some help if you do social media for us. And I was like, okay, I'll do anything.
So it started with free clubs and equipment.
Yeah, just like free stuff.
You're an empire now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You are. I mean, I don't mean to embarrass you, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
You're an empire.
Yeah. So then it was like a year or two of trying to play and also balance doing social media. And I was doing just both 50-50, and it was really hard to do it, commit to one or the other. And I was kind of burnt out at golf at that point. And when I first came on the scene, I was receiving a ton of backlash and hate, and I just needed a bit of a mental break. And I was like, I'll just focus on social media for a year to just recharge. And I never looked back, never got back into playing competitively. And it was the best decision I've ever made. And I was able to, grow this really amazing business and community of followers online. And I really love what I do because I can stay in golf, but I don't have the pressure day in and day out of competing and not knowing if you're going to eat. And
this is much easier. You don't have to make a cut.
I would say it's much easier. There's definitely pros and cons to both, but I'm much better suited for this than I was for playing golf professionally.
Yeah. How many followers now? It's in the tens of millions if you add everything up, right?
I think it's around like 11 million or so across, all of the platforms, which is insane to think about, because when I first started this, there was no, I want to be an influencer, or I want to be popular, I want to have followers. I was doing this to pay for my golf career, and for it to blossom into this, amazing career and business that I've built has been really exciting.
I don't want to mischaracterize it, so if I am, please correct me. But it seemed like early on, there's always haters. No matter what you do, there's going to be a percentage of folks that are haters. And it seems like on social media, those are amplified. Because we read one voice as one voice, but sometimes it sounds like it's a chorus.
Yeah.
I found it fascinating how you've dealt with the haters and the critics. I think, and again, if I'm mischaracterizing it, please correct me. It felt like early on you were sensitive. There was some sensitivity to that. But it seems like now you're just all in, and you have embraced this, and you said, hate all you want. This is who I am, and this is where I'm going.
100%. I mean, when I first started doing this, I was 22 years old. I was insecure. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to play golf professionally, which I was trying to find my footing in pro golf, and I was lost and I didn't really know how to handle all of it. I was thrown into this. There was no preparation. And I think anyone who is thrown into that and you're getting, hundreds of thousands of hate messages every day, it would affect you. And I was very sensitive to it. I'm just a bit of an introvert, a sensitive person, and I did not know how to handle that. But it's taken years. And I think the turning point for me was when I was really trying to be taken seriously. Yeah. And I wanted everyone to like me. I'm a people pleaser. And I wore leggings and a turtleneck, and everything was covered. And someone still had something negative to say that I was showing too much skin. And at that point, I was like, you know what? You're not going to please everyone. And so I've almost done a complete turn around. And I said, okay, well, if you're going to judge me for that, I'll give you something to judge me for. And I've really pushed the limits now. And I embrace the criticism, because you don't grow on social media if everyone loves what you do. And so I try to start a conversation. I try to wear things to push boundaries. I'm very outspoken. And I embrace that now. I like it because I think it's fun and it's interesting, and people actually love to hate on other people. And so I give them something to talk about, to complain about, to hate about, while just making really fun golf, silly, content. Yeah.
So talk to me about LA Golf. It's a young, newer company in a space that's really been dominated by the long-term players, but it obviously was good enough and caught your attention that you're an ambassador now. So tell those that are playing golf, that are maybe thinking about getting involved and just like touching the equipment for the first time, what do you recommend? Why is it your choice?
It's really interesting because I have worked with so many different club companies and I've heard all of the pitches. And when I was talking to CEO Reed, he was like, you will pick up at least 15 yards on your irons and all of your clubs if you switch into our shafts. Wow. And most people don't realize when it comes to equipment, the shafts are the most important part of the golf club. All the equipment, all the manufacturers are actually making pretty great club heads, but it's the shafts that really impact what the ball is doing. And I was like, okay, Reed, like, you're BSing me. I've heard this before. Everyone's like, you're going to pick up 10 yards. Yeah. And I was holding club the first time with the LA Golf shaft in it, and it felt different. And it's
heavier?
It's more in the butt end of the club instead of evenly distributed.
So substantial in the hands.
Yeah, you feel it in the hands, and I've never felt that before. And the first one I didn't hit great, and I was like, okay, well, he was BSing me. And then I started flying green after green after green after green. And I was like, okay, I'm hitting it 15 yards farther with my irons and 25 yards farther with my driver. And I was a believer in it. And everyone who has tried them have loved the shafts, and the golf ball, by the data, has tested better than every other golf ball brand out there, which is crazy. And I think what I love most is their attitude to the golf industry and trying to disrupt and change and be something different. Because I think, and this is something that I face a ton of criticism, if you change one little thing or if you do something that's a little untraditional, everyone freaks out. But you have to make progress. You have to have change to make progress. Yeah. And they're doing something that's really cool, just not even from their products, but from the marketing and the image that they have and what they're saying and what they're doing.
I think we lost Jay there for a minute.
No! Damn, bro. We was just getting to the good part.
It was going well, too. I thought it was a great interview.
Crazy. We going to dial them back up? What we doing?
Congratulations, chat. You broke the stream.
We got to get that back going. We got to get that back going by any means necessary.
So we're working on getting the internet connection set back up out there. Anthony is out there with Jay getting everything going. We got Matt Callett coming up as well. And then we got a package to play from an interview Mike did. Speaking of Mike, this is very weird. Mike is not on the set.
Right.
Mike is actually to my right.
Yeah. I wonder, why is that?
In the show.
Why is that?
Yeah. Let me see if I can use this.
I had a dentist appointment this morning, and I didn't get in until 10:15, so I didn't want to be in the producer chair when I came in 45 minutes for the show. So
I got the juice now.
I let Earl do the thing, yeah.
How does that feel, McNuggets, being off to the side?
To the side.
All right, they're back.
They're ready to go. Okay.
Oh, bring it back. It was some good
and
content.
You're seeing that now with social media of all of these new golf influencers coming up, and people are choosing to watch golf influencers over PGA Tour telecasts. Yeah. And I think they're seeing that, okay, we have to make the product a little bit more fun. We have to change it up. And especially now with, LIV emerging and everything that's happening in the golf world, it is changing quickly, and you have to adapt or you're out.
Yeah. All right. We got to let you go. So I have one question. Now, this is my favorite question to ask.
Yeah.
Anybody that's a golfer loves this question.
Okay.
I'm sure you've been asked a million times, so you'll have it all ready to go. In a little bit, you're going to play in the Pro-Am with my buddy Matt Collig.
Yes.
Excluding him, because I know he would be in your dream foursome. I know that for a fact. But what is your dream golf foursome? Who are the 3 players that you're going to pick? It can be dead or alive. It can be athlete or not. Hey, you want to golf with Elvis? You can golf with Elvis. This is the dreamland. So you can pick anybody that you want. Who are your 3 partners?
Oh, gosh. I'm thinking about...
You're kidding me.
All right, we lost the connection again. I'll text Anthony, say we can get that up. He's finna get Matt Corlick ready to come on.
What we got dialed up?
Steve, let's go ahead and play the package. Mike did an interview yesterday, and of course, due to our streams crashing, we didn't get the opportunity to see it. But the interview was with
Note Begay.
Note who?
Note Begay.
Note Begay.
No table gay.
Let's go ahead and run that.
Yeah, guys, we're back here at the Collig Companies Championship. We are joined by our 3rd and final interview of the day. It is Nota Begay. Nota, thank you for joining us on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You are the 3rd ever golfer to join us on the show and the 3rd of today's program. So this is a golf-heavy program. We're here, obviously, in Akron at the famous Firestone Country Club for the Collig Companies Championship. How you feeling? How's the game feel heading into this week?
Let's hope the 3rd time's a charm here. I'm sure the previous 2 guests were great, but we're going to finish it off strong here. Great to be back. It's been quite some time since I've played here competitively, so going to get re-familiar with the golf course and go out this afternoon and just try and just check it out. It's great to be back. The historic venue, so many wonderful historic players with tremendous legacies have played through here for the past 50 years plus, and to be back and to be a part of it is just a great opportunity.
It has the nickname The Monster. Has it earned the nickname The Monster, in your opinion?
It has. And, from what I remember in playing here in the WGC events is simply just very difficult off the tee, very demanding off the tee. And that's, the first piece of the puzzle when you're trying to put together a good round of golf is you have to get off the tee, and this golf course demands that you put the ball in play, preferably hitting the fairway. And then you try and attack the whole locations that kind of give you an opportunity. But yes, the Monster would be a very fair characterization of this venue.
What's the hardest part of this course? Or maybe not the hardest, but what's your favorite part of it? Is it attacking the fairways? Is it trying to make those short approach shots from the fairways to the green? Is it the putting? What's your favorite aspect of this course?
I think it has to do with the tradition and the legacy of the golf course, right? I think that you've seen a trend in architecture and design the past 15 or 20 years going towards wider landing areas, more forgiving landing areas, because it's more conducive to day-to-day play, but not so much tournament play. This is a golf course sort of that has been very difficult from day one, and it's maintained that challenge for the players through the decades. It's held up through equipment changes and all the improvements in technology and ball. And it's just really a good testament to just that. If you build a nice, sound golf course, it will stand the test of time.
I know you do some work with the Golf Channel as well. How would you handicap this field heading into the tournament?
Well, I mean, it's a major, so it's one of the toughest fields of the year. And you have all the top players here. You just saw Bernhard just do something historic a couple weeks ago. And defending champion Jerry Kelly is always someone to keep your eye on. And Stricker's been playing the best out of everyone. I know all the attention as of late's been on Bernhard, but Stricker's actually the player to beat, in my opinion, just based on just assessing the overall consistency of the year, the number of wins and top tens. He just never seems to sort of be out of contention.
Well, it's not like I've said this to everyone, but in my opinion, you're the golfer to beat here this week. So, and I definitely didn't say that to the first two.
That's only the 3rd time you've said that today.
No, it's the first time since 12 o'clock. It's the first time this hour I've said that. Just 2 more real quick. No, I know you went to Stanford with Tiger. In 3 years, when he reaches that young age of 50, do you think you might be able to see him competing in some of these senior tour events?
Well, I'm going to do everything I can to convince him because I know he still enjoys the competitive part of the game. The fact that you can ride a kart out here pretty much almost all the weeks is a huge, I think, attraction. And I just think he likes to compete and be around his friends. I mean, for me, coming out here my first year, getting reunited with so many of my old friends that I grew up playing with in junior golf, and then collegiate golf, and then on the PGA Tour, and now on the PGA Tour Champions. It's a very fun environment, still very difficult to win, but there's just sort of maybe a little bit less of the less stress than what you see on the PGA Tour with all the young guys.
How often do you get asked to rate or grade amateur golf swings?
Thankfully, not often, because I'm a very difficult professor. We're sort of sitting in a little bit of a lecture hall here. I feel like if I had to rate amateur golf swings, I wouldn't be very nice.
Well, I'm glad that you are here because I have a guy on our show. His name's Tyvis Powell. He played in the NFL for 4 years, so he's a legitimate athlete. And I would like you to grade, rate, and watch this golf swing.
All right, let's take a look.
And make sure you keep an eye on the ball and the club. And I should hit play.
Okay, good. Takes a look at the green. Water is death. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Did that really happen?
Yeah, we'll play it one more time for you, Noah. But yes, it really did happen. The ball.
What sport did he play?
He played in the NFL, professional football player for 4 years.
I don't know what the equivalent of that would be in the NFL, but it would be worse than a fumble.
It's not good. Put it that way. Not good.
Pass.
Tyvis, be better. Be better. Well, we appreciate it, Noah. Thank you so much, and best of luck this week at the Calling Companies Championship.
You know how do y'all understand the force I had behind that? If I would have made contact with that ball, it was really gonna travel.
Tyvis, you are well renowned amongst top flight golfers now. I mean, they're running your package week after week now.
Hey, listen. You know, if content page was saying that content is what things is about in the golf world, I gonna have a golf throwing contest with professional golfers.
Speaking of great content, we got a guy that's he's no slouch when it comes to content. His content is great because he got cars, he got golf tournaments, he got everything. Matt College with Jay, what you guys going on out here? What we got?
That lover, like real person, but the second the camera goes.
What is he talking about? What is he talking about, Jay?
Well,
Jay,
I was told to toss out to.
You done set him up.
I was told to. We'll see what's going on out there in Calling. Obviously, Jay and Matt were talking about the golf swings and just how great the tournament's going so far, and we'll figure it out.
Why did you just do that? Why you do him like that?
It wasn't me. I was told we're ready to go.
Yeah, you were there. I was there. Yeah. You just totally forgot. I didn't know we had two of them.
Jay.
Are you guys ready? You cool?
Guys,
y'all straight?
The company I keep just took a massive dive to the south. And you guys know how much I love Matt Collig.
Yeah.
But the scenery, let's just say the scenery here.
What are you going to do?
We didn't get to say
Dude,
goodbye.
you get to golf
I
with
feel
Paige.
cheated.
Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous, but I'm excited. Like, right?
Wait, this was you right here. I'm not nervous.
I mean, the only thing I'm nervous about is, hitting the shot and just looking like a jackass, right? It's like, how can a grown man not hit a golf ball?
But you'll lay the groundwork ahead of time and tell her I'm not very good.
No, she knows.
So when you stripe one down the middle, she'll say, "Great shot."
So our goal today is just to have fun.
Yeah.
And she came to Akron. She came all the way to Akron to be at our tournament.
What does that say about this event?
Well, it says a lot about Northeast Ohio and this event that, LA Golf is becoming a big brand. And the fact that she would come from LA. They actually came from London.
Oh, really?
To get here for this event because they committed to it even a few months ago. But, yeah. And she's a sweetheart and she's awesome. And she's building a giant brand even of herself.
Incredible.
But no.
Now, when can we expect a picture of you in the bathtub with all the golf balls? Is that coming soon?
Well,
for LA marketing?
Let's hope. I hope my wife's not watching this, but let's hope that's coming soon. If that happens, I will take a picture.
So I think you were here when I was doing the interview. I asked her about that photo because that's the iconic photo that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And she said that she had a team of folks that were positioning the balls on her to make sure that everything was covered.
Well, it's called brilliant marketing.
It is.
Right? And I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Right.
Even having a bunch of businesses and marketing, we've got our Celsius.
Is this
one of
your
our
drink?
sponsors.
That's one of
Yeah.
your sponsors. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of our sponsors. And
I'd
they're
never
here.
had that before, by the way. You gave me one a minute ago, and I'd never had it, and it's good.
Well,
Very
you don't need energy drinks.
I don't need energy
you have
drinks.
energy.
I know. Bro, after one of these, I'm a mess. I'm just a mess. You can't stop
you
me.
Can only drink. You should only drink one. I talked to somebody the other day. They're like, I drink 4 of those a day. I'm like,
wow.
As much as we're promoting the brand, like you can't drink that much.
Yeah, that's a
energy drink.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So the event, I got to tell you, I've walked the grounds.
Yeah.
What you've built here in this VIP section, which is tonight the kickoff of this area.
Yeah.
You've taken this event in a year to the next level.
Well, that's that's really our goal. I mean, we were just talking about Paige in the bathtub and golf balls and everything else. But it's all about marketing. It's all about getting people out to an event. I mean, it's PGA Champions Tour golf. So it's some of the best golfers that have ever lived. And it's an iconic country club, Firestone Country Club. They've been playing golf here for 70 years. But not everybody's a giant golf fan. So you have to have things that are available for people that just want to come out to like a cool event and experience.
It's a great place for people.
So you have to have an experience.
Did I see Tom Watson here? Is Tom Watson here?
Did you? I don't know.
I did. Someone off Kimmy told me I did. I mean, like that's one of the most iconic names in the sports.
It definitely is. Is he here playing? Is he here?
Yes, he's here. Good. This is your event, bro.
I don't know who's playing.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4-round event.
Yes.
The Pro-Am is today.
We're playing the Pro-Am today.
And I expect if the weather's nice this weekend that you're going to have some really nice crowds out here.
We're having so ticket sales are giant. You know, we're sitting here right next to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stage.
Right.
There's going to be concerts even right after the tournament.
Wow.
But there are lounges. There's putting greens and chipping greens and just stuff to do.
Interactive stuff.
But if you've never, but it's also good to get outside and just walk around and watch great golf.
It might be the most beautiful corner of Northeast Ohio too. The course is in great shape. I got to see a little bit of it. Everything is perfectly manicured. It is a championship level golf course in peak shape.
And it's a great event right here in North. And just to support, that's why we got involved, just to support Northeast Ohio.
Right.
And there's a giant charitable aspect to the golf tournament. I mean, we gave, I don't know, there's 20 or 30 charities that are involved in this thing that we're given. LeBron James Family Foundation, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, on behalf of golf fans in Northeast Ohio who have watched this event in the last couple of years kind of teeter on whether or not it was going to be an event, I say thank you because I know that you've really done a lot to keep this thing going. Not only keep it going, but take it to the next level. I can't wait to see what kind of crowds we get here this weekend. The golf is always terrific. I'm honored because I'll be handing the championship trophy to the winner on Sunday, as I did last year. Thanks so much for all you do for Northeast Ohio. It's going to be a great event. If you've never been to a golf event, I can say this because I've told many people this through the years. If you've never been to a golf event, but you're just a fan of beautiful scenery and people watching, this is the place to be in Northeast Ohio, really, for the next 5 days, counting today's Pro-Am. Hopefully the weather is going to be great through the weekend. Come on out. Check out championship-level golfers. There are tons of names that you've heard of and will recognize. And who knows? You can go to one event and you get hooked. I remember I took my wife to her first event, kicking and screaming. Yeah. She loves golf tournaments now. She absolutely loves them because of the scenery. She's a big fan of the nature and the play, too.
It's
Matt,
fun.
Thank you. Hit him straight, bro. Hit him straight.
Appreciate
and have fun today. My God, I don't know
we
how you
always
can.
have fun.
Yeah, I know you do. Guys, that's going to do it from Akron at the Firestone Country Club here for the colleague.
Jay,
I have a hard time saying that. The Colleague Companies Championship. I mean, for so long.
Why is that hard to say?
Because it's just ingrained in my head that wasn't the name of this event forever.
Yeah.
But now it is. And so, thank you.
Thanks, bud.
All right, guys, back to you. I'm not going to swing a golf club today.
Why not?
I'm going to head back to the station a little bit. And Tyvis, again, I'm very proud of you. You got a B- from Paige Sporanic on your golf swing, and you didn't even make contact with the ball.
Let the world
you have a
know.
note for me?
Yeah, we got one more. AJ Allmendinger's next.
Oh, you know what? Guys, we'll be back here in just a minute because we've got someone who probably has the fastest golf cart at the tournament here. That's coming up in just a little bit, so stick around. We'll be back for that.
AJ Allmendinger of NASCAR fame is going to join us on the set. So stay with us.
Nice.
Jay Crawford.
And we got the who's who, Earl. Like, we didn't have 3 in a row, man.
I'm tripping on the fact. I don't see why Matt is tripping off of making contact. It get no worse. Jaden threw me under the bus. he rolled me under the bus. It can't get no worse than that, you know?
I mean, we never got to say goddbye to Paige.
Yeah,
we did not get to say
my
goodbye to
feelings.
Paige, and that's
Like,
so
Jay
unfortunate.
dominated the whole conversation. We couldn't even get
I had a
word in.
I may have had a question or two.
No, they cut my mic. Cut it off. They cut it.
They brought me out in the Hannibal Lecter. I was tied to a two-wheeler, tied down and gagged. And you sit there and shut up. Don't say a word.
Hey, man, it worked out well. He even got to cut to he even got to cut to technical difficulties. I'm like, man, this is crazy. This guy got pulled the plug on it. Yeah, man. So listen, I'm trying to think. If you are Matt Colleague, do you know exactly how much money you spending this weekend?
No.
That's
what your accountant's for.
The bag has already been secured and allocated.
How much money you got to make to have an account? Which money do you think you got to have?
Typus, we can't even golf regularly yet.
They said that if you know how much money you got, then you ain't got enough.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And I'm not joining no country club until Typus joins. Because
what you mean? You should go first.
No, you go first.
You see that man swing? Why would he join a country club?
They not about to accept me.
Yeah.
Accept me in their country club.
Man, that's real. Listen, it's all about content.
Paige and put. Listen, we should have had her retweet it. That's what we should have did.
Happened, right?
Man, we got to get Jay on
Jay
it.
Hustling, right? All them 11 million people she got.
Listen, man, Jay want to see me stay small potatoes, man. I could have blew up right here. Paige Skaronic did put me on.
Hey, Earl.
All right, without further ado, probably the most famous, the best person that's sitting right out there right now, NASCAR driver.
Look how excited Earl's for Allmendinger than he was for Paige.
Calling Company's golf championship.
All that bass
with Jay Crawford.
All right, guys. AJ Allmendinger. We've talked about AJ on the show a great deal. Terrific NASCAR driver. Of course, he drives for Colleague's team and on the NASCAR level. You've won. Road courses are your thing. Like it's always funny. I'll ask Matt, where are you going this week? And when he says a road course, I'm like, oh wow, you got a chance. He goes, we're gonna win. Why? What is it about your dominance? Our producer today, Earl, is a huge NASCAR fan. What is it about road courses that you love so much?
Well, it was just my background growing up. So I raced go-karts and actually went to Indy cars. And at the time, the two IndyCar series were split. It was Champ Car and IRL.
Right, yeah.
Champ Car, we raced specifically street courses, road courses. So it's all I ever did.
That's your wheelhouse.
I really didn't have hardly any oval experience until I went to NASCAR.
Wow.
And I just love it. There's a lot a driver can do. You still always got to have a really good race car.
I feel like that's real racing, though.
Yeah. Well, and it's just I
not that the other kind isn't.
I think it's just different, right? Like, so on a road course, a driver can make a bit more of a difference, the way he brakes, shifts, all of that.
Yeah.
So I've just always enjoyed it. It's been my background. I love doing it.
Yeah, and you get to make right-hand turns, too.
Yeah, well, people in NASCAR be like, does it bother you when they say that you're just, the road course guy? I said, well, it's better than them telling you equally suck at everything.
Yeah, that's your niche. That's your niche, and that's fine.
And then once I started driving for Colleague, I started winning on ovals, too. So we've done that.
Two exciting things I have to ask you about that I just learned about you. Number one, you're playing in the Pro-Am. Yeah. Tell everybody who's in your group.
John Daly.
How did that happen?
The man, Matt Colleague.
Matt made it happen.
He said, who do you want to play with? I said, John Daly.
Have you met him yet?
I've never met him.
God, I envy you today.
Yeah.
He's been somebody that I've just watched his entire career. I love his mentality. He's just,
he's real.
Joe Sixpack out there playing a weekend round just like all of us.
And I can't wait to listen to the ball hit the club because that thing is
makes a different sound.
It's a different sound than anything I've ever heard.
I saw him 25 years ago at the Greater Hartford Open, and they had a tent about 350 yards on the other side of the driving green of the driving range, and he was consistently hitting them over the tent, and nobody else could reach it. And I just remember watching him going, this guy is from a different planet. It's incredible how he hits the ball. But that's not the most exciting thing going on in your life right now.
Yeah.
In 25 days or thereabouts, Your life is going to change in ways you can't even imagine. Tell us why.
Yeah, my wife and I were having our first child, having a boy. My dad, he's going to try to get him right into racing. I guarantee it. I'm going to try to hand him a golf club because I love golf and it's cheaper.
Yeah,
so,
and it's safer.
Yeah,
it's much safer.
So, but I've already been hitting up Matt Collard right now. I'm like, hey man, how long are we going to have this team for? Just in case. I'm going to need you to hold on to it for
This
about
is
at least
succession
another,
plan,
just another 20, 25 years, just in case.
How old were you when you started competitive driving? I mean, you probably very young.
I started off in BMX bicycles. I wanted to race motocross.
Really?
To this day, my favorite form of racing is supercross and motocross. I love it. So I did that for a couple years.
Who was your guy? Ricky Carmichael?
So it was Ricky Johnson to begin with.
Okay.
And then it went to Jeff Stanton.
Okay.
And then kind of through Ricky Carmichael, guys like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my mom didn't want any of that. She was like, no, you're racing four wheels. So I started racing go-karts around age 8. And
wow.
Been doing it my whole life.
And that was something that Dad just said, you're going to do this. You're going to be a racer, or something you wanted to do.
My dad was just a local dirt track racer before I was ever born. Right. So that's all I knew. I was literally at a racetrack watching racing, watching my dad race or doing my own racing my whole life. And I quickly learned I hated manual labor. So I just wanted to race cars.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
All right. So John Daly's in your group. You're an avid golfer. In fact, guys, I learned that earlier this week, he played not 18 in a day, not 36. He played 45 holes in one day. I've never done that. That's an incredible. That's a marathon.
Yeah, it was the right mixture of alcohol and good golf swings
and good people.
Yeah, and good people.
Because you got to really like your group that you're playing with.
That is true.
I asked Paige this. What's your dream golf foursome? I imagine John Daly's in it, so you're about to walk into it.
Well, I'm going to get to play with him, so then we can mark that off. So if I had to go, I would go 3 other names. I would go me, Tiger, Steph.
Wow.
And then one of my buddies to go along with it so he can enjoy it.
That's a great answer, but I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So it shows a little bit about your personality.
Yeah.
You want to share the fun.
I want to have fun with my buddy out there, yeah.
Dude, continued success to you. You just kill it out there on the road courses, and you're fun to watch. I'm glad that you're part of Matt's team, because Matt associates himself with winners and great people. And he's always told me great things about you. It's nice for me to see it up close and personal.
Well, when the motto is trophy hunting, you can't not get trophy, otherwise you get fired. So
I love that hashtag.
Yeah, I learned that quickly. Yeah.
All right, AJ, thank you. Enjoy John Daly. I imagine you'll probably have at least one beer.
Maybe.
Have one beer for me.
Well, I'm going to have one to start off just so I don't hit somebody off my tee shot.
That's a good idea. Enjoy the day. Be safe, and continued success.
Appreciate it, man.
Guys, AJ Allmendinger, terrific guy, great golfer, soon to be dad. And here in about an hour or so, he's going to be hitting golf balls with John Daly. I'd be lying if I said I'm anything but extremely jealous.
Jay, man, of course, man, we appreciate you guys out there. Earl is super, super, super excited to introduce one of his favorite people in the world. You should have
See AJ. Thanks, man. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, you too.
So, guys, let's get to some Browns talk. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the show. We kind of teased it. Training camp is less than a couple of weeks away. I was talking to Tyrus before we got on, and now it seems like it's starting to be a little more tangible. You get a little feeling, a little fuzzy feeling. And the topic of the day is, which Browns player do you think is going to have a really good breakout season, right? As far as preseason.
Preseason. Okay.
Training camp All-Americans, right? We've seen them.
Say it like that.
You have a good summer league.
Yeah, summer league. But yeah, the summer league is the same thing. So I'm glad I got Jason here so we can talk about stuff that don't matter.
I think that who I think and who needs to is two totally different things.
Okay.
I think who needs to have one is two guys that come to mind. Jerome Ford. Obviously, he's going to be the backup to Nick Chubb. If he comes out there and have a really good preseason, because he had one last year. It was a really good preseason. It was solid. Wasn't nothing crazy, but it was a solid preseason. He needs to show that he can continue to grow. He's gotten better in this preseason because he's going to be a guy that's going to be in there this year. Nick Chubb can't go every play, so when he's not in, Jerome Ford is going to be the guy that's in. We need to see him be able to be comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield, and can he make plays when they give him the ball on the handout. Obviously, they're going to try to keep it very vanilla because you don't want to show your game plan and what you're going to be doing, but we might see a little bits of glimpses of what the new offense could potentially look like. I just want to see if he's in there, can he handle that load that he'd have to take. But another guy to move off of Jerome Ford, who I think will have a good preseason would be, I think it's going to be David Bell. I think David Bell is one of those guys who knows that they've brought in a lot of wide receivers. They know this is a make or break years. That last spot for wide receivers is still up in the air. And I do believe that he is a good playmaker. I think if he's really worked on his route running this offseason and found a way to create separation, because I think catching the ball, he's always been good catching the ball. I mean, last year in camp, he went weeks without dropping the pass. So him catching the ball was never the problem. Obviously, the 4.6 speed is a problem, but if he can run routes, get in and out of his cuts, he's a guy that they want to keep on this roster because they see something with him in the future, and he's going to need to come in there and expel Elijah Moore at times when Marquise Goodwin isn't in there. So I think he has to have a good preseason.
This should be an easy July 12th question, right? Like, this is simple. Who's going to have the best preseason? Who's going to stand out? But I think it's a little bit more complicated than that because in the past, Kevin Stefanski doesn't play his starters, right?
Right.
And I just wonder if that's going to hold this time around. Is there a need to play these guys more because you've got Deshaun now for the whole season and you got to get them ready? So is joint practices in Philly enough? Is training camp enough? The in-week stuff, is that enough? Or do you need to see it more? Because that's going to dictate the answer. If you're playing the starters more, I'm going to take Elijah Moore as a guy who I think would probably I would expect to have a good preseason. But if we're going on the same routine of they're not going to play a lot of the starters.
That's the way I'm going.
I'm with you on Jerome Ford. I think it's Jerome Ford. I think he's going to get the bulk of the carries, and that's the guy. But I just wonder. I mean, Deshaun played the first quarter at Jacksonville, right? He had a couple series.
Yeah, 2 series.
And that was it. Yep. And they really shut down the starters. And Kevin very much is the new school coach in that approach of we're not going to take any chances. We're not going to get anybody hurt. I just wonder, though, with everything that's at stake this year, and we all know it, and they know it, they feel it, they know it. Do you need to play Deshaun more in the preseason? Do you need to get these guys reps? I don't have the answer. I'm not trying to make a case one way or the other. It's July 12th. I don't know yet. But I just think that this is one training camp where maybe it's worth having the conversation of how much do you play these guys.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a lot harder to answer that question for me.
You hit on something, and I think this is going to be a major theme throughout the rest of the training camp, the start of training camp, throughout the preseason games. How much is enough reps? And you know, they're going to look at it both ways, right? There's some team, I saw Andy Reid last year. Andy Reid was playing Patrick Mahomes. They traditionally play their guys. There's a lot of different ways and different thoughts you can think about it. You could say, hey, we want to make sure that we get Deshaun, the most reps we can. But you know how he does it. If the first team line ain't playing, he's not going to play.
That's exactly right.
He ain't going to play Deshaun Watson. So that means Conklin and there's a lot of guys, Jed Wills.
And we saw what happened in the Jacksonville game. You lost your center on the opening play. Now, it worked out okay because you got Posick. But how often does that happen?
But do you know what, though? The way that their schedule is aligned this year, it wouldn't be bad for them to play more in the preseason. Now, you got an extra game with the Hall of Fame game, which none of the starters is going to play anyway. So you thinking that you turn it on and seeing DW4 in the Hall of Fame game, you're soundly mistaken.
I need that.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
I'm not even going to
don't even. Let's just go ahead and scratch that. We got 3 games left. I would like to. They need Deshaun Watson and that offense to play a lot in those two. Not the last game, but the 2 games. They definitely need to play a lot because you get the bye week earlier in the preseason, so you got a chance to reset. Yeah, it's gonna take a toll on the body a little bit, but since that bye week is so early, you can hit the reset button, refresh, and then get ready prepare yourself for the rest of the season. So it wouldn't be a bad thing for them to at least get a ton of rest. They should at least the first game they should at least go a quarter. The second game they should go at least halftime.
I'll say this: if they play enough, I think the person that plays the best is probably going to be Deshaun Watson, because what will happen is we're not used to seeing. We got very mixed expectation levels, right? The 6 games obviously plays a role, right? But one of the things that you look, they're going to be vanilla. They're not going to do anything too crazy. But if they get the ball and move downfield, the lasting thing that you have in your mouth is, oh, Deshaun Watson and the offense look good on that drive. If he can play well in the preseason, and I know it's just a preseason, you still are going to want to see it in the regular season. You still will be kind of apprehensive because you know what kind of schedule you got coming up.
Yeah.
But I think it'll give the fans a little reservations. It'll
sure.
calm a little bit to see, oh, okay, this looks a lot different from last year. Because last year it looked like he was unready. He was under duress. He was a little, I would even say flustered a little bit. He was running around a little more than I thought he would.
I think that it's a loaded question because we don't know how they're gonna play. The starters, if the starters gonna play or not, does matter to who we think will have a good preseason. I mean, if you flip it defensively, I think all linebackers, because all of them coming off of injuries,
and I need know if they're gonna practice.
That's what I'm saying. So I need to know if they gonna practice, is they gonna play in these games, because they are a piece of this puzzle. We need good linebacker play. Now, granted, the secondary should be good with the additions of Juan Thornhill there, having a true post safety. You still got your guys coming back at the corner position, and you did their D-line, so they gonna get after the quarterback regardless who's in there, which I want to see. In the preseason, this should be, with Jim Schwartz calling the plays, even though it's gonna be vanilla, you want to see the pass rush. That's literally all you want to see. You want to see the pass rush, and you want to make sure that they can stop the run, because those are two things that we didn't really get a chance to see. So defensively, I want to see that, but the linebackers is everybody's biggest concern, because they was hurt at the end of the season. Every last one of them coming off injury. I don't even know who's the starting linebackers right now. I know JOK is going to be out there, but I don't know who's the starting Mike. And the starting Mike is the voice of the defense. You need that guy out there to be really good. If Anthony Walker is not going to be that guy at the beginning of the preseason or at the beginning of the season, then who is?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Earl, you had something really quickly as well.
So as I'm hearing this conversation, I'm thinking about a guy like Maurice Hurst, right? Who we know that there's some potential there. He hasn't played in a minute, but from everything I've heard, when you talk about guys getting off that defensive line, Mo Hurst has been one of the guys. And then a guy like Harrison Bryant, right, who came into this came on this team with a pretty solid college career and kind of have not really lived up to it. And then for the Browns to go get another tight end in free agency, I'm interested to see how he's going to be in preseason.
I think he's prime example of a trade candidate towards the end of the preseason. If he goes out there and he shows some glimpses, I think they really do want to run. Now, Kevin Stefanski loved tight ends, so he would roll this season with 3 of them. Don't get me wrong, but if he changes his mind and somebody is interested and high on him as a tight end, because I think he was the Maxey Award winner, right?
He was.
Yeah, and he's had glimpses. He has moment in the leagues where he's really shined. He can become a guy who you can trade away and get, maybe some picks for, maybe a player that, depending on how it looks in preseason, you'll be able to get some depth at a position. But he is a guy that can be a potential trade candidate.
You mentioned something earlier about the schedule, and I just did a quick glance. In 2020, they opened with 2 divisional games back-to-back, Kevin's first year. 2017, they opened with 2 back-to-back and 3 of their first 4 like this year, but they went 0-16 and there were no expectations on that 2017 team. It's unbelievably critical, obviously, to get off to a quick start this year. When you have 2 division games, 3 of your first 4
you could be fired at the bye week.
I keep saying this is setting up to be a bye week firing.
Yeah.
It really is. This is a really hard start. These guys have to be ready to go week 1. And it just feels like a lot of times we've gotten to the point in the NFL where week 1 is sort of the feel out.
It's like the first 3 weeks has been like they still trying to figure it out.
They don't have time for
they don't.
This year.
No, they don't.
They don't have time for week 1 to be a feel it out, work out the kinks. They have to be ready to go at week 1.
And if you're the organization, you're the Haslams, if you look at the first 4 weeks, you got 3 games at home. So it's not like there's not as if
That's another good point.
It's not as if okay, they start off with division foes, they're all on the road. It's tough to win on the road in the NFL. But if you got these 3 home games and you're looking around, you're saying, well, look, we started off slow, we got the bye week. And another thing that really sets up for a move to move off Kevin Stefanski in the middle of the year is now they have a whole system set up where before it would say, well, who are you going to go get? Who's going to coach? With last year with Joe Woods and Prefer. Now you got AVP. He's ready to take over the offense. Mm-hmm. I think Bubba Ventrone is the associate head coach or assistant head coach. And then you talk about Jim Schwartz has already been a head coach in the league and already he knows how to take care of the side of the football. So there won't be any qualms about, well, it's just going to be, we're going to turn this into a minor league program because we don't have nobody take over the reins. And I don't want to make this conversation get rid of Kevin Stefanski middle of the year, but it does say a lot about what you need to be doing and performing at a certain level come week one.
I definitely think that they went into this offseason prepared for if they did fire Kevin, they would have a replacement. One of those guys that you just named. Like Jim Schwartz. Schwartz would probably be the interim for the rest of the season. So I think that they would be fine there, but I still believe that the play calling would be the scariest part because I do believe, although like I said, it was questionable things he did last year, I understood why he did what he did in certain situations. Now, if it would have worked, he would have looked like a genius, but a lot of the times it didn't. So I think that the play calling might be a little skewed a little bit, but AVP has shown that he's obviously that Raiders game in the COVID year. He did a really good job. The playoff game against the Steelers, he really did. He called a really good game, so he can get it done there. But I do believe that this front office have went into it with if we do have to fire Kevin, we do have the next guy or the guy that can get us through the rest of the season.
I'm gonna keep it real. Let me just be honest with you. Let me be honest. As you guys were sitting there telling me, I was going to play the G. Bush role today where I wasn't going to say nothing inflammatory. I wasn't going to do none of that. I was going to just say you got to wait and see and do it. I said, but I'm not going to do that right now because you just did something. If I'm Kevin Stefanski, I really might just say, I'm not going to play Deshaun Watson maybe in the Hall of Fame game, but I'd play him the rest of the 3 games.
Not the 3.
And hear me out. Hear me out. The reason I play him twofold. I need to see you in mid-form today.
I said, that's what I said
right
starting
now.
it off. Man.
And if he did, for some strange reason, get hurt, I could always go to the hazing and say, listen, you can't get rid of me, dog. Look, listen, I didn't have him last year. I'm trying to get the kid ready. Guess what? He got hurt. We set back a little bit.
That's just freak accident.
That is freak accident.
That's not going.
So if that's out of the picture, if that's out of the picture, Tyvus, and I'm playing the Ravens and the Steelers first, I need mid-season Watson, and I'm making up for missed time. I played him all the games. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Earl says he got something to say about what you talking about.
Why is it that me and Jason are the only people that feel like that Kevin Stefanski not going anywhere? I really believe that no matter how this season starts,
if he go 0-4 in them first game, he out of here. I don't care what you talking
think so.
about.
I just don't think so. For whatever reason, I don't think so.
No,
don't even think it's going to come down to it.
Earl, do you understand that if they go 0-4 it's the first 4 games before the bye week, right?
Yeah.
They go 0-4, you down in the division and you down in the AFC, your chances of coming back is slim to none.
Call me crazy. So, I just don't believe we're going to be in that situation.
Well, I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying we are, but if we are, oh yeah, see, he gone. I'm going to just tell you that right now because they have addressed everything about this team. They got the quarterback, they got the line, they got the receivers, they got the defense, they got the coaches. If it doesn't work, it's him. That's the only thing you can change.
They've been in a lockstep up to this point. I'd say Andrew Berry might not be going nowhere. Andrew Berry might. Like, they might not blow everything.
Well, you're
out.
not going to fire your GM mid-season usually.
Right. So
what good does that do?
So, and then here's the thing too. You automatically get a bump. You get a bump every time a new coach come in. The new voice is there. They'll win a couple games they shouldn't win. Now all of a sudden people is looking around like, oh wow, this is what a team could be. Look, like if Schwartz or somebody else takes over. But make no bones about it. The way the pecking order goes is just how they got Baker up out of here. You said what they want. They say he set him up. It was what it was.
It was what it was.
They were like, listen, they went to the front office and said, we're a new organization, we're a new regime, and you know what the unwritten rule is. We get to choose our quarterback.
Yes.
Now, if that quarterback does not work.
Well, there's no new regime who's going to choose their quarterback in Cleveland for the next 5 years.
Yeah, so
the quarterback is here.
Now, he posted. He's here.
Like I say, I will leave it with this. The Cleveland Browns season is going to come down to they're going to be playing Cincinnati at home. The first game's in Cleveland, right?
Yep.
They're going to be playing Cincinnati at home. Some adversity is going to hit. It's going to be a point of that game where something's going to happen. And it's going to look bad, and it's going to be 1 or 2 responses. It's going to be some guys that might come out there and say, here we go again, new year, same stuff. But you praying that the fact that you win and you got a Juan Thornhill, you got a Zadarius Smith, you got a Jim Schwartz, you got these new voices that when that thought comes into these players' minds, that they nip it in the bud and say, that's not happening. I don't care what happened. Like Juan Thornhill does a great job on Twitter saying, I don't care what happened before me. It's new. It's different. He got to keep that same energy and be that guy when something happens in that Cincinnati game, because it's so easy to just fall back to old ways. Change is hard. It's extremely hard. A lot of people don't want to do it. It's so easy to just come up there on Sundays and collect a check, no matter if we win or lose. But it's going to take them new leaders and them new voices to come in there and get everybody on the page like we not accepting this mediocrity. We not about to lose. Our roster is better than Cincinnati's. Yeah, they got Joe Burrow, they got Jamar Chase, but we are better than them outside of that. We have to come up and step up and make plays and win this game. Because if they win that game against Cincinnati in Cleveland, whoo,
I think they can get Cincinnati up out of here.
No, they definitely can. Because Cincinnati gonna start off slow.
They do it every year.
Yeah,
they gonna know. Cincinnati got a whole secondary that they trying to replace. You got to take advantage of it. That's why you need D. Watt to play in the preseason. So when we get against Cincinnati, you got to take advantage of their weaknesses before they figure it out.
To what you said earlier, I agree with. There's adversity in every game, right?
Yes.
At some point. But when it's week 1, it feels like week 5 or 6 is when you say, screw it, it's the same old Browns.
Yeah.
Week 1, I would hope that there's enough optimism still. It's not how, I mean, you know better than me. That's not how it works.
Listen, man, there'd be people out there that be like, here we go again, same old stuff. I'm telling you, you got to stop it. You got to nip it in the bud right there. Because if you let it go, it's just going to continue it's going to bleed on to the next game. You got to nip it in the bud. The moment you hear somebody say that comment, the moment they body language look like that, you need to check them right then and there.
Is that on guys who have been here, or is that on the new guys?
It's on the new guy.
Because it's the guys who have
the
been
guys
here
who
that are gonna feel it.
Exactly. The new guy has to be the one. That's why they went and did it. The new guy has to check it and be like, listen, we not doing. Jim Schwartz is respectable enough to call everybody up on defense and say we not doing that. Yeah. I don't care what happened last year. We not doing that. You got to nip it in the bud. I'm telling you. If you let it go and you just turn the eye, it's just gonna bleed on to the next game.
I specifically, as I watch these dudes all the time, there's teams where they got a quarterback, they never play like that. Peyton Manning's teams never play like that. Tom Brady's teams never play like that. When you watch Patrick Mahomes, they can be down by 24 points. And at any point, they just feel like they can score. They just can get back in the game. And that adversity is easily nipped in the bud if you say, defense just gave up a touchdown. Don't even worry about that. I got a touchdown right back for you.
That would definitely.
That'll
definitely get you back on.
Right, I got a touchdown. I'm good for it. Get out of jail free.
Because as a defense, you're thinking to myself, okay, dang, we just messed up now. In years prior to this, if I gave this touchdown up, it's pretty much a wrap. But if Deshaun go back out there and march it back down the field and score, we back. This a new year.
Right back in the
let's get a stop. Let's get him the ball back.
And and don't let you get the ball back to him.
And he gonna score again.
Like, oh hell!
So that's why it's imperative that Deshaun Watson plays in at least 2 of the 4 preseason games.
With you.
Not the first one. The Hall of Fame game, I get it. He don't need to play that one or the last one.
DTR is going to ball out. We're going to hear Monty Bates.
Oh, my God.
DTR is the quarterback of the future. Get Deshaun up out of here.
It's Josh Dobbs. It's Josh Dobbs season, first of all.
He got to have a package. I need a double quarterback direct snap package.
No, but the game 2 of the preseason, he needs to play a quarter. The starters need to play a quarter. Game 3, they need to play the halftime. That's what it needs to be.
That's the old school way, dude.
That's the way it
goes. I need them. See, and I'm scared about this because they got too many injury-prone dudes. Like, Conklin is not going to be playing like that, like all preseason. Jed Wills got bad ankles. He's not going to play like that.
He can play a quarter. He can play 2 quarters.
If you can play 17 games, you can play a quarter.
That's what I'm saying. A quarter.
I need him to play.
A quarter's like 2, maybe 3 seasons.
I need him to play.
It's like what, 12 snaps?
And that's why I don't.
I think you missing the point. Like it ain't that long.
That's why I be hating the quarters because you get out there and then somebody else want to throw screens on the other team and take the whole second quarter up. Now you're looking around like, bro, we only saw 4 or 5 plays.
So you want to put him on a play count?
No, I need to at least see him. I want to see him 15, 20 plays.
Okay, so you put him on the play count.
Yeah, 15,
that's what I just
20.
said.
Yeah, 15, 20.
I don't think that's because what if the first drive is 10 plays?
Then you're good.
That's it.
10-play drive look like points.
Listen,
That smell like points.
What we came up with is it can't be what it's been in the past. You can't.
No.
You cannot. I know you want to rest the bodies, and then 17 games is a long game. I get that. But it's so much at stake on the table this year that you have no choice but to go all out on this thing. Like I say, bye week is week 5. So you go hit the reset button, and it's the last 12, 13 games you got to worry about. But you got to address that when you need to at least be employed when the time you get to that.
Now, will you be okay? For me, I'd be okay if Amari Cooper is coming off surgery. I don't need to see
him and D Watt they running routes right now. What are you talking about?
He got to play then.
Yeah, I just got an alert from Bleacher Report talking about how they running routes.
Yeah, he got to play then. Now, Nick Chubb don't necessarily need
to play. Nick Chubb is an exception. He don't need to play. He ain't even got to play the preseason, and I'll be good.
I don't need to see Petonio play.
Well, you need to protect your quarterback.
That's true. Unless you really want to get him some pocket awareness and elusiveness.
Now, can I play Nick Harris? Now, Nick Harris is a starting level.
You need to play Nick Harris.
Yeah, Nick Harris. DeJuan Jones needs to play.
Who's the starting center right now?
By the way, this is going to be a theme, and the producers, y'all understand this right now. There's some names, receivers and offensive linemen, that are not going to make this team. They got a bunch of linemen that have played for the Browns. Some of them, see, when Ethan Pochich came back, now you have Nick Harris who could play a little bit of guard. But you got your 5 that will make the team, right? The 5. Now, how many linemen do you think that they will carry into camp or in the season?
Into the season?
At least 9.
I think Michael Dunn makes it because he's versatile and can play multiple spots.
Okay, so that's 6.
Nick Harris, I'm not sure if he can play guard or not. I don't know. I don't know if he's big enough to play guard.
Well, how big is he? What's his size?
He played guard.
He got to be at least 6'3".
He played guard a little bit last year, the year before.
He was drafted with the idea of a center guard, but I'm not sure internally that they view him as someone who can play guard.
You like Michael Dunn. You got James Hudson at left tackle.
James Hudson staying.
Hudson staying.
He's
he got cooked again.
Yeah, he did. 2 years in a row. They should redshirt him. They should redshirt him against Pittsburgh. So
2 years in a row.
You've already got Michael Dunn. You got James Hudson at 7. Now, if you skipping over Nick Harris as a maybe,
I think Harris is a maybe.
Drew Forbes, who's played a little bit here, and then you got DeJuan Jones. Now they picked DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones is on this team.
So that's 8 right there.
They picked him and they picked Nick. Not Nick.
It may come down to Forbes or Dunn.
What's the center from Old State?
But they got Luke Whippler.
Whippler.
Yeah.
Luke Whippler.
Yeah.
What was he? A 6th round, 7th round?
Yeah. I mean, he could be pre-squad. But it depends on how they view Nick Harris. If Nick Harris can play swing the guard, then he would just serve as a center.
Now they gave some guaranteed money, I believe, to the gossip guy, Wes Martin, excuse me. Tyrone Wheatley Jr. is at the other tackle.
I actually forgot about Forbes when I said Michael Dunn. I think it's probably an either or between those guys.
So they got a couple of guys that name brands that we know there. Then you look at the receivers. This is, to me, is like the craziest part. You got Amari Cooper, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, you got Elijah Moore. There's 3 right there. Tillman they just drafted. That's 4. Goodwin probably make it as 5. But then you get here, Jakeem Grant.
This is why I just said David Bell better come on out and do something.
Well, I got yelled at before because I don't think Jakeem Grant's making this team.
He's not.
Where were you when I was getting accosted?
He's a kick returner.
Yeah.
They just got rid of kick returns. He's a punt returner. DPJ just took one to the house, and he's trying to get paid.
How many receivers
and on top of that, you still got Demetric Felton. So if DPJ can't do it, Felton is still there, and he serves as a running back.
How many go ahead.
6.
So you think 6 receivers?
It's always 6.
They could squeeze a 7.
No, then you're getting rid of a tight end.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on 6. I think it's 6.
Well, in that case,
I mean, P Squad is open, and there is no age restriction no more.
Let's run through the 6. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cedric Tillman. That's 4. Goodwin is 5.
David Bell.
Probably David Bell.
David Bell will be a 6.
And who are we leaving out of that?
Schwartz,
Grant,
Jalen Darden,
Foley,
Jakeem Grant,
not Foley.
Michael Woods is on IR. Dalen Baldwin will get cut. Mike Hartley Jr.
Hartley, wasn't it Hartley, right?
Mike Hartley Jr. And Rashawn Henry. Now, that means, all right, well, is you keeping Felton as a running back or receiver?
Running back.
He's a running back.
Because in worst case scenario, he can still play the slot. That's why it says when you're versatile and you can play multiple positions, that's what make you more valuable at the next level.
So
but don't forget, P Squad is still open. Like a Mike Hartley can still play P Squad. Michael Woods can play P Squad. All these people can play P Squad. And you can. I think what is it like 12 people now?
They just bumped it up. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like 14 people can play or be on your practice squad. And then on top of that, now they got the quarterbacks where you can have 2 on the roster and 1 as an emergency. So you got 3, so all 3 of them can make it.
Yeah.
Quiet as kept. The defensive line room is a little more crowded than we thought.
It is.
You talked about Hurst. You talked about Hill. Now you got young guys. And they still got Jordan Elliott penciled in here. You know what? I'm gonna have to talk to y'all about that. But anyway,
he gonna have to show it.
So I don't necessarily believe he's just starting, but I do think he'll make the team.
Jordan Elliott?
Yeah, he'll make the team.
You gotta have at least 2 or 3 D. See, that's the thing, because Zadarius is playing D tackle.
So how many do you think D linemen make the roster?
Usually it's like 6.
So 6?
Usually like 6, like 5 or 6.
D tackle. You said D tackle.
You talking about D tackle or D line? I'm including all of the positions.
All D line.
Yeah.
Ends and tackles. How many they keep?
I think it's higher than 6.
It got to be higher than 6.
It's like
8.
Yeah.
8.
So if
you need a pair for each one.
So Myles Garrett, Jordan Elliott, Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith. So that's 4 right there. Now the ends, they draft the ends. They got Alex Wright from last year. So he's a 3rd-round pick. I don't know if they want to cut him.
They not.
Siaki Ika is he's a 3rd-round pick.
He ain't going nowhere.
He's here.
Maurice Hurst, they have him penciled in.
That's a good one.
And Obo is the other one. Now that's 8. That's 8 right there.
So, but they got McGuire too, who they drafted.
So they got Isaiah Thomas, Tristan Hill, Perrion Winfrey, and Isaiah McGuire.
And Tommy Togiai, don't forget.
And keep going.
He'd be selling insurance.
Jordan Elliott.
Tommy Togiai. They got Sam Kamara. These are just down the line. Lonnie Phelps. These look like camp bodies. But listen, bro, that 3rd stanza I just kicked out.
It's gonna be interesting. That D-tackle, whoever making the way this preseason is, you gotta get some sacks. Or you got to be getting TFLs or something.
Isaiah Thomas, I like his skill. Tristan Hill is a guy because he can be.
Isaiah Thomas made this roster because of his.
And Isaiah McGuire just got picked. So my thing is, I named 12 guys. 4 of them can't make this roster.
Well, what I like about everything that we talking about is that they did exactly what you needed to do. You need to bring in stiff competition because competition makes players rise above. There will be no gray area. You either gonna make it or you ain't. You either better than that guy or you not. And they probably put it to where like that's the dude that you're going against right there. It's probably black and white. You got to beat him for your spot. And now you going out there on game day. Now it makes the preseason more interesting. It's more intense. There's more stuff on the line. That's what I liked as an undrafted guy right there because it was intense. The season come around, I might not play because I'm on special teams. But during the preseason, I'm trying to be all pro in the preseason because that's the only way you're gonna make the roster.
It does scare me as I look at this. The cupboards are stocked or those positions. They be stocked well. But these backers, it's the same old same.
I'm worried about my old state secondary guys, man. They got some undrafted guys.
Walker, Phillips, Taki, and that's it.
What you think about Phillips though? Phillips has been hurt. I know that
Phillips is highly productive when he's healthy. He has brain farts and then he got brain farts and then he get hurt. But when the game he came in when what was it, Pittsburgh or Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, like 12 tackles or something like that. It was something ridiculous. Yeah. But then he'd go next week and don't do anything. His consistency not good and he just be sometimes just tripping. I don't know. When he on and he locked in, you got to really dumb down what his responsibility is. Like he can't think about nothing else. I need to know this is what I got. No matter what they come out in, no matter what pieces move, it need to be just this.
You could say that about a few of the guys.
Well,
JOK.
JOK needs to be. They need to stop putting him at will and put him at the Sam and let him be the athletic guy that he is. Be in space, come off the edge, drop in coverage, or drop the buzz and be able to play that hook or that corner route. Like, that's where he needs to be utilized. Y'all keep trying to put him in the box, and DeQuell points out how his footwork ain't good. You can't cross over in the box. You got to shuffle, and then you got to just go on the lateral movement. He's not strong enough to use his hands, so when they get up on him, he's basically a safety. Once a lineman make contact with a safety, you ain't getting off of that. So it's like, now you got to fix the D tackles, hopefully that they never touch him. He don't use his hands to get off, so it's just like.
So, Type, I got a question. I think I've asked you this before. When it comes to Jock and Taki, I think, you feel like that they're both have been playing out of position.
Yeah, they need to flip them.
You've seen them actually play other positions. They play well. How do you work that out when you re-sign an Anthony Walker and then you got a Jacob Phillips coming back off of injury, but you've seen Taki and Jock actually play better in other linebacker roles?
Well, what you do is you hire Tyvis Powell and you listen to me when I tell you where they should be playing at, because like I said, I only played 4 years in the league, but I've been playing football for about 19 years, so I kind of know a thing or two. But when it comes to the signing, you pretty much know who you got. I mean, Anthony Walker will be the starter of this team because of the respect that he has for his peers, because of the work that he puts in. But he has to come in there and he has to show that injury didn't handicap him in any way.
I wouldn't play him.
He has to show it at some point, because you paid him to come back. He got to go out there. You got to be confident to know that this guy, it's a couple of ways you could be the starting linebacker. You got to know that playbook inside and out. I'm talking about if the D tackle is a shade off, you got to be able to get him in place. You got to be a coach on the field.
There we go.
2, you got to have your instincts should be out of this world. You should be looking at the formation, at the play from your film study. You should be telling everybody, this is what's about to happen. If you can do that, that keeps you there. Or 3, you better be the most athletic linebacker in the history of the game that you can run around. You can go underneath blocks, stuff that you shouldn't do. Go underneath blocks but still chase the ball down. That's the 3 ways that you should be able to make.
He's not doing the third one.
No,
so he better do
the third one's not happening.
He got 1 and 2. To me, he's the most important non-superstar in the team. Like, if he gets hurt again, we are finished.
You talking about Anthony Walker?
Yes, he cannot get hurt.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's just
I need him out there.
Our linebacker position, they got to get smarter. That's just what it is.
I don't know if you can do that at 25 times.
No, you got to study the game. Like,
either you got that or you don't.
You have to demand that these guys watch tape, study it, give you a full report of what happens. When formations come out, they should have a great idea of what's coming. Run game and pass game. Linebacker is hard because you got to know both what's going to happen in the run and you got to know what's going to happen in the pass game. You got to be able to alert these guys and let them know what's coming. If you ain't talking, if you ain't saying nothing, then you just playing the play. You reacting.
Don't you feel like that? I feel like, you tell me this, I feel like a lot of what you do as a safety, a lot of what you do as a linebacker is instinctual.
Yes, but you should know, you got to have an idea.
Now, you do have to have an idea.
I need to have it. Like, for me, when I played, I studied so much tape that when I was out there, I see information come out. Now, granted, I only had to worry about the pass because I was playing in the secondary. When information came out, I can say, hey, this is the concept they're running. You need to know when they go against your defensive scheme, whatever we in cover 2, cover 1, cover 3, whatever we in, what do they show? Because the quarterback know what you're in. What do they show when they see this coverage? What is the route combinations that we getting out of this formation when they see this coverage? When we in cover 1, they're running man beaters. So they're going to run rub routes if they're in a bunch or something like that. You should know exactly what it is. The secondary should be able to talk about it. Hey, we going to lock up the point. We going to in and out the outside. Or if it's a stack, hey, I'm going to take the guy in the back. You're going to take the guy in the front. What do they run out of stacks? That's what you should know. If you don't know that, then I don't know what else you got going on.
But that's at safety. At linebacker, you got pass
and run. That's what I'm saying. It's tough.
But here's the thing. Like, we keep talking about linebacker responsibilities. It's been made very clear. In Jim Schwartz's system, the linebacker is the least important position.
Yes.
It's up front and it's in the back.
Correct.
So what is different about Jim's position?
Because he does a great job with his D-line of running these stunts and stuff that it clogs up a lot of the holes.
Just cause chaos up front.
Yes. So what an offense can't account for is one of your D linemen or one of their offensive linemen getting completely beat. If they get beat, like, there's nothing we can do. You could draw it up in any way, but if your D lineman is winning and getting in the backfield, that causes chaos. Now the running back is stopping his feet, which then allows the linebackers to get the flow or stuff like that. Yeah. Like, that's what Jim Schwartz harps on, is that he going to cause so much chaos on the D line that it's going to erase a lot of mistakes that happen. So now linebackers are free, because if they can't double team this D lineman because he's in the backfield. So now you're taking two guys, essentially the linebacker's free. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's type of stuff.
Well, I'll be interested to see what it's going to be. I think one reason, Jason, even though this is a preseason, it will be interesting. I think even more interesting than basketball is because the Browns do have depth now. And now you're going to see some of these camp battles that could be interesting, especially when you got the whole team and they cut you at once. We're gonna see a lot of guys getting some playing time, and hopefully we get to see Deshaun Watson and the rest of the offense. Earl, let's get to our next topic.
All right, so we tried to get to this yesterday, but we couldn't, and we got the perfect panel for this conversation. So Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald was fired amid a hazing scandal. There's two current Cleveland Browns that played for Coach Fitzgerald, and one of them being Greg Newsome. You know, he took to Twitter to defend his former head coach, but then quickly deleted it. Now, some players are saying, you know, some of the things that's being – or some of the allegations about some of the things that's happened, some players are saying, I've never seen things like that. Other players are saying, no, these things did happen. From what I understand, Fitzgerald was supposed to be suspended for about 4 games, and then swiftly he was fired. So what's you all's thoughts on this entire situation?
I think it's a wild situation to begin with. I mean, you know, the hazing thing like that, some of the reports of what the hazing was very questionable. I'm not for that at all. I wouldn't say that there's any racism that goes on at Northwestern, but like I said, I'm not in Northwestern, so I can't really speak exactly what they got going on there. But, you know, I understand, because I was in a situation like that with Ohio State. You know, Coach Meyer and Ohio State got accused of doing some racist stuff. And what I learned is, like, my experience, so like G News' experience at Northwestern might not necessarily be the same as whoever went through it. It's two totally different experiences. So some things happen that you might not hear about. You know, it's a lot. It's 85 guys on scholarships plus walk-ons, so it's a lot of people. Different things happen to different people, so you never know everything that happens. But I will say that, you know, Pat Fitzgerald always came out as a stand-up guy. You know, he was a guy that, you know, you thought would be there forever. And, you know, it could be one of those things that maybe he didn't know what was going on. You know, it could be possibly that like I say, it's a whole bunch of guys that you're trying to watch over. So some things could slip into the cracks. But, you know, when you become aware of those things, pause, I know. Don't look at me like that. Stop. Don't look at me like that. You took a good moment and just ruined it. He looked over his glass to say.
While he was doing that, I was reading this story in the Ringer, right? And I didn't know what was. I didn't know everything that was alleged.
I told you yesterday.
But
man.
no, it was even crazier when you write it and see it. Like,
yeah,
you write it down,
it's some wild stuff going on, and I was just like,
nah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I say all that to say, you know, if somebody had to take the fall for it, and unfortunately he had to be the one. You know, you can't. It's not something that could get swept under the rug when it's, you know, guys coming out saying that this hazing happened or this racism happened. Those are big allegations, and somebody has to take the fall for him, and he just had to be the guy.
Northwestern had the first opportunity on this because it came to them. They did their own investigation, and either they dropped the ball in the investigation or they were trying to sweep it under the rug. And I don't know what the answer is on that. But they had ample time to look into this. And they do the Friday news dump of he's going to be suspended for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden all these former players start talking to the student newspaper. So was it a sham of investigation? How did you not uncover some of this stuff? And that's the part where I guess I'm struck. The allegations are really bad.
Yeah, it's
really
terrible.
Bad. But then I saw a report today about one of the players saying he wanted to get Fitzgerald fired. So when you have all of this time as a university to look into this and to investigate this and come out with your findings and then completely pivot 48 hours later, 72 hours later, and go completely to the other extreme, something isn't lining up here. And I'm putting it back on the university. of what kind of investigation did you really do, and how deeply did you really look into this? It's an unfortunate situation. Fitzgerald is an institution there, obviously, having played there. He was the face of the university, really, in so many ways. And now for this stuff to come out, I think this is just the beginning. This is going to wind up in courts. There will be lawyers involved. And I don't know that we necessarily have all of the information. So I just hold on tight because I think this is going to get wild.
Because this is a story in the Ringer, and this hit different when I looked at it because I didn't, as a football player, you never really think of these terms. He said, a whistleblower on the 2022 Wildcats described hideous things, the Daily Northwestern. Among them, players were punished with gang dry humping on field for making mistakes. Freshmen were made to perform naked drills like bear crawls or quarterback center exchanges. It's done under this smoking mirror of, oh, this is team bonding, but no, this is sexual abuse.
Okay,
the player said.
1 second. Have you ever heard of this?
Never.
No.
Never.
No. That's
I have never seen.
You said, so you telling me.
We had to get up and sing.
Wait a minute.
We had to get up and sing if you like.
What you telling me is, they in the middle of practice or drills with coaches standing around, that they allowed that to go on?
No, I don't think it was during practice.
No, it
was in the middle of practice.
It wasn't in the middle of practice.
So this is like some off-season training stuff.
The investigation summary notes that the whistleblower's accounts were largely supported by the evidence. Shill wrote in a statement, 11 current or former football players, student-athletes acknowledged that hazing had been going on within the program almost the entire time that Fitzgerald had been a coach. Now, look, if that is if you talk about, the only time I can think about that jumping off is, you know how you doing, basically in college, you don't see your coaches all year round.
No.
You with the strength and conditioning coach.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You with the strength team. Like the coaches be off recruiting, doing whatever. You can't have organized practices, but you get together with your group or whatever, you would lift it. You got to lift this schedule and all that good stuff. So maybe this might be some stuff that they doing outside of it. But when you start talking about like sexual assault type stuff, like if people doing stuff naked, that's gonna come back on who was supervising that.
That's my point right there.
Who's
like the
supervising that
strength
move?
coach usually is standing out there.
Yeah,
Are you telling
multiple.
me that y'all are getting naked in the middle of a workout and humping each other?
And by the way,
and he just sitting there just twirling his Swiss whistle. That's wild to me.
And he didn't get fired. Only one guy got
That's
fired.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that he's the one.
I'm confused. Like when I heard that, I said, "Whoa, what time are y'all?" And because there's other people in the facility, you may have
it's trainers, coach, it's coaches, everybody's there.
It's like lacrosse could be doing. It ain't like the football team is secluded. Like you gotta literally be outside with other groups of people that will see this and be like, "What are y'all doing?"
But in the initial reporting, in the initial story by the Northwestern Student Newspaper, which as a journalism guy, bravo to you guys.
I don't know how he got story to hear.
Incredible. But in the original reporting, Fitzgerald, according to the piece, made the reference or made the stance that signaled this guy needs to get dry hump because he just screwed up.
Yeah, it was the wildcat way, or they said there was different things that just made it seem like that was what it was.
I don't know.
And
they got some news. They got some crazy stuff going on at Northwestern.
Northwestern of all, I believe it at Ohio State.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, I'm just saying because
we don't roll like that.
No, I'm just saying because of the stature of the football program, I would believe that would go on at Ohio State before I'd believe that would go on at freaking Northwestern. It's Northwestern.
It's them nerdy ones.
That's the ones you got to watch out for.
Exactly.
I just think
them nerdy ones be wild, man.
I just think I didn't play at no.
I don't play like that. So
I didn't play at no very storied program, right? Like I just feel like when you look at it, the situation like with the Bobby Bowdens or even that old guard where you had the Bobby Bowdens and you had the Joe Paternos and even a certain extent at Ohio State when, Urban was there and he had to think with his position coaches and stuff. The issue is sometimes when you get to these institutions, like they are secluded. They are the top of the food chain. And sometimes I can't say that they get lazy, but what starts happening is if you Ryan Day or you somebody like that, Yeah, like I can understand for you saying, I don't know what happened. I'm trying to beat Michigan. I'm y'all on my ass for that. I don't got no time to be like, those are things that I could see to where coaches is like, I didn't know nothing about that.
Well, according to Steve Becker said that they said no coaches was around for when this all took place. But I don't get it. I don't get that. I don't know why people even play around like that.
Wouldn't you, if it happened to you, wouldn't you go to someone?
If it happened,
right.
Listen, put the camera on me, Steve. I'm gonna tell you right. If it happened to me, we would have known about this a long time ago because it would have said Tyvis Powell is going to jail. That's what it would have said. Because I don't play like that.
He done killed somebody.
I don't play like that.
He beat the brakes off that boy.
I'm just saying, if you're a freshman and this is happening to you, wouldn't you go to somebody, your positional coach, somebody?
That ain't.
That doesn't fly with me. Like that's not good enough.
Because that means you foster an atmosphere where you can't. Some people, when they take and drop their kids off to schools, they believe that they are almost of a parent status. Like I'm giving you my child to teach, mold, and I got him to 18. Can you get him to 24? Yeah. Right? So we can take this. But my thing is, if ain't nobody coming forward, and I don't understand why there is not a conscious effort to be like, let me just learn from this. Guys, if I catch you, if I even hear you whispering about it, there's certain things we're not even going to talk about it. I will get rid of you Deion Sanders style. I got the Louis coming. He made getting rid of people the easiest in the world.
I mean, that's what Urban did. Urban said on the very first meeting, there will be no hazing here. We don't do that around here. We don't condone that. If you haze somebody, you are up out of here. And it was simple. That's why nobody ever did nothing like that. So it's wild to even hear this story.
Hey, a few things, few points for me on this. If I'm a parent and you as a coach have came and sat in my living room and you want me to entrust my 17, 18-year-old son to you, and then he gets to your program and have to go through some of these things, I would be highly pissed off because you've done all of this. You spent all this time and energy trying to get me and my family to, on board with trusting you with my child, and then things like this happen. And then the other part me and McNuggets was talking about, he claims that he didn't have any knowledge, and an independent study shows the same thing. But you know what? As a head coach, you need to know what's going on with your program, because we've seen so many other examples across the college football landscape of, head coaches being fired with the whole, well, I didn't know. Ignorance is not an excuse. Ever.
You're right. Ultimately, it falls on you. It's your program.
That's why I started off by saying, even if he didn't know, somebody got to take the fall for it, and you gonna be the one.
And I understand the timing. Like it's July. See, we're going
preseason. I mean, they camp starting like a week,
but
2
the
weeks.
fact that he's the only one and everybody else is there is a little odd, isn't it? It's a little odd. Now I understand, like trying to replace an entire coaching staff at this point may be difficult to do. But it's just odd to me that he goes and everybody else stays. If it's a culture problem, well, your culture's still there.
Yeah. I'm leaning on the side of Jason. I don't know what they did. I think if they was trying to hurry up and run a sham investigation to say everything was cool, but when you start talking, I'm telling you, I don't know why y'all people did. When you start talking about any sort of nakedness, you in trouble. That don't even, like, just saying it right here on the tape, that don't even sound crazy. Because now people go.
Why? I'm trying to figure out.
Now
we playing football. Why? For what reason?
Tyvis, listen, there's guys, the Michigan State dude, there's the Ohio State wrestling thing. Like, people is going to jail now. That ain't no, like.
That's what I'm trying to tell
regular,
you.
like, think about it.
Well, forget whistleblowing. It would have been.
Look at the doctor that was just stabbed in prison.
Yeah.
The dude who took advantage of them Olympic athletes.
And so they're not going to play with you. And to what you said, they only got one coach gone. They should have preemptively been like, well, listen.
All y'all got to go.
The whole situation got to get wiped down because there will be class action lawsuits. Like, those 11 players, if there's 11, there might be 12, 13, 14.
I need that. I need the full story to come
This is crazy. That's why I try not to comment on cases or whether somebody did or something or not. I could know you and you could be perfectly great with me. We could have a great rapport.
For sure.
But if you got a case, I'll speak to you independently and support. But I can't jump out the window and be like, he had nothing to do. Whoa, I don't know. I don't know about that yet.
Yeah,
we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Shout out to Greg Newsom, too. He was like, let me delete that real quick. That never happened.
I wonder who got to him.
No, you know what? When he did that, it reminded me of what's the dude, Matt Barnes, when he did the Udoka thing. He went on there and was like, he would never do that, and then he came out and said,
you know what?
I was wrong.
I actually thought of Udoka the other day because the Boston players to this day defiantly support him. When they came, Udoka was about to get hired by Brooklyn when the Celtics were in town. I went and I talked to him. I talked to Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown especially was very vocal in their support of Udoka. These guys that get around him every day, and I understand why Greg wanted to support his guy because I saw it with Boston too in Udoka.
Yeah, somebody.
But to your point, your experiences aren't the same.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
as everybody else's.
You wanna, and somebody being from Northwestern, somebody would have like, listen, these don't look good. If you say that, and then all of a sudden they have an investigation 10 years down the line, the internet is undefeated. They'll come back and say you were supporting that behavior. They trust me. Listen, Jason he's the compliance guy. He tells you what you should not say on Twitter all the time. He be telling you, don't tweet that, dog. Stay away from this story right over here. I'm gonna just stay away from that, dog. Earl?
All right, moving on. So the All-Star breakers came and went. The Guardians are sitting at 500, half game over the Minnesota Twins for first place in the AL Central. The conversation that we've had a lot over the last couple months is what to do with Shane Bieber. Now, his last 5 games, he got a 5.2 ERA. He's getting hit all over the place. His last start, he gave up 9 hits to the Kansas City Royals. Is it finally time to trade Shane Bieber? And if so, how much value does he still have?
Well, we talked about it before, and for me, the answer hasn't changed. Yeah, you have to trade him now. The value is only going to diminish. And I think your benefit from the fact that you have 2 years of postseason control, that helps the value.
He 0-3 in the last.
And yeah, I mean, those numbers are awful. But and the fact it's a supply and demand issue, and there's just not going to be that many starters available. So I think now is maximizing the value, and this is an organization that always maximizes the value in their guys. So I think he is going to be dealt. Certainly you'd like to see him pitching better. Like I said, you have to take this up to the deadline to create more interest, and I still think that's the case. But, gosh, you really need a couple good starts out of him.
When is the
here
deadline?
in July 31st.
Oh.
So it's coming.
I didn't know it was that
he's
quick.
got, 3 starts left?
19 days.
He's got 3, maybe 4 starts left before the deadline. You really want to see him pitch well. And it's complicated by the fact of the McKenzie injury. That certainly doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah. But it ain't like
it's a difficult choice either way.
It ain't like he's 0-3 in the last game, so it's not like he's pitching better than a lot of people anyway.
Well, and the numbers have been down for a couple of years with him. And whether it's the sticky stuff, whether it's the shoulder injury he had a couple of years ago.
The sticky stuff.
No one really knows
That's what's wrong
what
with
happened
Karen
to the velocity drop or where it came from. But his margins are so thin. I mean, Shane was pitching well early in the year, despite not having great velocity. But his margin for error is so small, and we've seen that here in these last couple of starts. But I still think, listen, his value is only going to go down from here because of the fact that you lose an extra year postseason control. That matters a lot. That makes a significant difference. We talked about it before. They traded Bauer with 2 years left to control. They traded Clevenger with, I think, 3 years left to control. They're not afraid to move these guys. They were in first place, 18 games over 500 when they traded Bauer. And I think that this is
Bauer.
There was some personality things.
Yeah, once he threw that ball over that,
well,
the decision
to trade him, I think, was made before that, but certainly that didn't help matters any. Clevenger had the issue, the COVID issue, where he and Plesac broke curfew.
Yeah.
So there were some personality things with those guys that Shane doesn't have, but it still comes down to the control and the 2 years of control, and I think these are the last days of Shane in Cleveland.
Man, the Guardians as a whole, they're like I've switched my focus. They're like the college girlfriend. They're like the college girlfriend in March. You graduate in April. Like you're like, well, I mean, would it be? might as well ride it out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just gonna break up with you in like February, but you got your little internship in the summer. She's moving away. You act like you're gonna work it out. Like, it's not like you're gonna leave on bad terms, but you don't really have any expectations.
Yeah.
And so you just enjoy yourself. You just enjoying each other's company till the inevitable happens, where she either starts waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning going to work. You start moving over to another place, and then you by that point in time, y'all both got regular jobs. One of y'all gonna stop lifting weights, stop looking cute, and then somebody gonna upgrade and somebody gonna take an L. That's the Guardians. For me, if you look at Shane Bieber, I'm like, that's my college girl. What am I gonna trade for? I mean, I could get something for it.
Yeah, you better get some type of bat.
Get a little something. I get a little stick.
Well, you got to get one. If you trade them, that's the only thing.
Is it going to be a crazy bat?
No, it's not going.
It ain't a crazy bat.
I just want to shrink myself and crawl in your head for 30 seconds to see what goes on in there. Some of the stuff you come up with,
it's crazy, right?
It's wild.
It is, but no, like
it's a great analogy, though. It was a great analogy.
Like, yo, I'm not. I don't work myself up over the Guardians. It's like, okay, you like, hey. If we work out, we go on a date or something, that's fine. Like, we never going, like...
So you indifferent about the trade?
At this point, I don't think... See, McKenzie going down...
Messed up everything. It messed up everything.
It's an impact. It for sure is an impact.
But the thing is...
But Savali's pitching well. Gavin Williams is the real deal. Bybee, you're counting on young guys to carry a heavy load.
I just don't want Cal in the rotation.
And that heavy load when you get to like September, October, now you telling me you got to have Gavin Williams, Bybee, and you're going to have Cal
No, we not. No.
Well, he's in the mix.
No,
you're counting on Savali.
No.
So Savali got it. So now you're counting on Savali's what, a 3?
It's putting a lot of Gavin Williams very well may be your game 1 starter.
That's crazy.
It is, but you're looking at the long-term health of the franchise.
Y'all need to cut this. Y'all act like they gonna win the World Series this year, whether he stay or go anyway.
No, and that's part of the reason why I think.
So go ahead.
And that's part of the reason why I think. But I think they are a playoff team.
They're gonna make it anyway.
Okay, so Gavin Williams is your game 1 starter.
That's fine.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, your college girlfriend, she dressed up. She good.
That's fine. Yeah.
Go to the graduation party.
It's not like we win in the World Series this year. You might as well get a stick for him and have somebody in the rotation.
Might as well go meet Aunt Ida for the graduation party. Like y'all gonna be there.
Because I'm like Jason now. I'm trying to get inside your head. So is Shane Bieber like he basically like the girl that let themselves go? He'd have been in this relationship so wrong, he started to just let himself go?
Nah, like if he's a girl, like you was in college, you'd be like, oh, this is great. And then you start growing up, you'd be like, hold on, so I'm going to marry you forever? We going to be together? Is she looking at you like, well, you was cool because you played football, but now
football season's over.
Football season over, bro, and the league ain't happening. So you got to now, as a man, compete with the dudes out there with the business suit. Can you get that off? Football, you was A-. This business game, B-. I can upgrade really quickly.
Y'all, that's crazy. And then Jason, this is for you, because I hear this a lot on sports talk radio. For whatever reason, the St. Louis Cardinals keep coming up as a possible trade partner for Shane Bieber. Can you elaborate on what they have that we might want?
They've got a surplus of outfield bats, which is obviously exactly what Cleveland needs. But the Cardinals, I haven't looked at the standings lately, but they were so far out of it. I don't know why they would make that move. That's a buyer's move to make. Although you do have 2 years of control, so you're trading for him now, thinking I guess you come back into it next year. I think the Angels make a little bit more sense. That's a team that needs a little bit more pitching. There's a lot of teams that need pitching, and Shane's going to wind up in Southern California anyway.
He can't go to. Do the Padres have anything? I feel like outside of their 3 hitters,
the Padres trade for everything.
So is there a
that'll be a good situation for him.
The Dodgers still have a terrific farm system. Their farm system is loaded, and again we'll go back. Bauer was traded to the National League. Clevenger was traded to the National League. Lindor and Carrasco went to the National League. They try and get these guys up out of here. So a team like the Dodgers would make sense. It's where he wants to wind up anyway, Southern California. And they have a loaded farm system, and they'll trade for anybody.
So is there a point where he's done so bad or the return value is so low that you say, screw it, I'm going to just keep him?
No.
Just for this year. Because then you revisit it in the fall.
It's only going to get lower from here. Mm-hmm. Because once you get through this postseason, you're down to 1 year control. Now you're into a rental, and now you really don't have a lot of value there. So I think for that reason, you got to move him now.
Don't
because
matter.
this organization is always about the long-term health and maximizing return and maximizing value.
That's what. Listen, they need to get off of that plan and be like the Browns and the Cavs and just mortgage their future
and just fire everyone every 3 years.
And get Ohtani. Just mortgage your future like everybody, like every other Cleveland team did. Jump on, just come on.
You know what? I would entertain that conversation if they were on pace to win 95, 96 games, and they were running away with the division. No, but I'm saying,
who's to say that? Who's to say how many games left? Who's to say they won't?
But if this was 20, like in 2016, they had a feeling at the deadline like we're in it, and they went out and they made the big move for Andrew Miller, who also at the time had multiple years of control. But if you felt, I mean, they were in on the Bryce Harper talks not that long ago. Mm-hmm. So if they felt like they were one piece away and they were like could be World Series contenders, I think they might entertain that, knowing that it's a rental and they have no chance. But they're not at that point. This is a 500 team. You don't make that move when you're a 500 team.
He's right. See, the analogy what he was saying is if you slip up.
Here we go.
You slip up and your college girlfriend actually was getting her master's and she was graduating then you looking around like, okay, well, I'm not going to this league. She got her master's. Then you pony up at the deadline. You got to get that ring. You get that ring, you move it to the same city as her. Wherever she going, you going because you done hit the jackpot.
Who wants to do that?
That's what you did. What are you talking about?
I didn't do that.
You got out, you got the jackpot, you got the girl late and was like, I'm done. I'm out of the game. What are you talking about? You did that. That was a cold analogy. Because now you like, okay, I'm set up, ready to go. That's the fast track. I'm married at 25 to my college wife that I overhit for. I batted 333, but she didn't know I batted 250 last year. I was just hot a little bit. 260, I was lifetime. I batted 330 with 20 home runs, and now I'm about to get a max deal.
So Tyvus, you bagged your wife due to your early college career interception total, right?
Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. He got out. Listen. He knew what it was, bro.
Listen.
That was cold. You're going to go home and analyze that. You're like, dang, he right. He is right.
I'm talking about me. And he done turned it into me.
That was the coldest one ever.
I don't know what just happened. I got lost at the turn back 6 turns ago.
Rewind that. When y'all go home, watch this.
The fact of the matter is the Guardians have to trade Shane Bieber as seems to be the consensus answer here. Whether it more likely is going to be to the National League, and it should be for some bat or somebody in the outfield that can hit and provide some hitting for the Guardians. And you know what I also want to know is Oscar Gonzalez ever going to make his comeback back to the Guardians?
Tito, man, I don't know what he did to Tito. You know, he must have not. I don't know what he did. Came in last in the calisthenics line, or I don't know what he did. Not clean his station up at the Progressive Field. But he not coming back.
Yeah, we may never see him again. I felt that for a while.
Dang, he had the biggest hit in the postseason last year.
And when you said that, people was like, "Oh man, nah, what you mean?" And I'm like, "Look, man." People will tell you how they feel about you. They'll let you know by their actions, not about what they say. If she don't answer that phone like the second or third time, you chalk that up. You a friend. You a friend. Stop walking.
You a friend.
Don't be walking at. I'm tired of these dudes be running around at the gym, all in front of the girls on the treadmill, talking about how's your day today? What are you doing? Stop that small talk. Let that woman work out. She don't want to be with you. She don't like you.
Y'all are crazy. Shooters shoot.
Nah, shooters go to jail. Both ways. Oh. Don't go to jail for harassment. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, man, to wrap this up, we got to read our PCC Airfoil question of the day. As always, man, I posted on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show community poll. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a lead manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoil in Eastlake, Menard, Whitcliffe, and Minerva are hiring right now. All positions are starting at $18 an hour. You get full benefit packages, paid time off, sign-in bonuses. Apply right now at precast.com/careers to learn more. Make sure that while you're on our community tab, when you're voting on our polls, that you're subscribing to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. If you're already a subscriber, tell your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Had them tell their cousins, had their cousins tell their kids. had their kids go to daycare and tell their friends at daycare, had those kids at daycare go home and tell their parents, and see if we can get some more subscribers to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Earl, did you know that? Jason should know this too.
Okay.
That out of all of the players at the All-Star game, Ohtani was most excited to play with Jose.
That's because he coming to Cleveland. So speaking of Cleveland, is it time for the Cleveland Guardians to finally trade Shane Bieber? We had 521 votes. 75% says yes, 25% says no. And we are about a minute away from overtime. We got a pretty cool overtime for y'all today. The question is, if the Cleveland Browns can add one player to their roster between Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, who would it be? So it'll be interesting to see what the panel think about this.
Yeah, man, we're going to get that in, man.
Listen,
that's going to be decent, man.
Listen, go ahead and make Ohtani. What do you think the pay cut got to be? How much of a pay cut you think he willing to take?
Ohtani? To come here?
300
About
million?
90%.
What about you? Do you think they would pay him $300 million?
No. They're not handing out $300 million. They're just now to $100 million.
Do they even have $100 million in the bank?
Not anymore. They just gave away $200 million deals. I got
This is a shame.